I mean, it might be somebody's favorite part of the show, arguably.
It's mine.
Yeah. I like the pre-show. We're here. We're live. We're on the internet with the pre-show. Who is this guy?
I honestly don't know if anybody knows anymore.
No, you would be surprised.
The keyboard sickos might know.
No, there are people who've been around since the beginning. I mean, there are new people who have like joined us within like the past year and like thank you for joining us, but might not even know who Gordon is. But there's also plenty of people who know who the deep lore of one Hayden Dingman, especially because we bring you up every year.
Oh, for Star Citizen.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Is there a way for me to turn down the volume in my headphones?
Yeah, so Mr. Intern, that's number
producer.
Yeah, she should be number 3.
Just down a little bit.
Yeah, just a squidge.
A little bit more up, just a tiny bit.
Yeah, test.
Perfect, thank you.
There we go. Hello, welcome everybody to the pre-show. Like I said, arguably the best part of the show. I'm gonna have to sit on my edge here because I'm right on the corner.
It's like when you have to sit at the table leg at a round table.
Yeah. Or when you're in the middle of the table, but the middle has a leg. I hate that too.
Yeah, totally.
It's the worst. It happens.
I feel like I have to sit on the edge because I have to lean in for this mic quite a bit.
Yeah, you got to eat it. You got to get up on it. I know you paid for the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
You only need the edge here.
So yeah. Hayden. What's
Hello,
going on, man? How does it feel to be back in this room?
This room looks exactly the same. I don't know how much people outside of this office know what this office looks like nowadays. This room looks exactly the same.
Maybe a little bit more
everything else is very strange.
Yeah.
Things change in 10 years.
Yeah, there's no stack of boxes at Gordon's desk. There's no desks at all as far as I can tell.
Yeah, no stack of boxes at my former intern cube area. I actually, for a while, I just had the whole wall lined with boxes because I was the reviews editor at the time.
Wow.
I think my Twitter cover image is still a picture of those boxes.
That's where I got my start, as Alex knows. That's little intern cubby.
If you could turn number 4 down a little bit.
Yeah,
just a
little bit, just a smidge. When he was first hired, I
was
here.
Wrong 4.
And I don't even remember where that intern spot is anymore.
It was like underneath it was underneath the window, looking out on the clock tower.
We can actually still see it from the Macworld studio. So if you if you look across the way, like the desks are there, and it's like around behind it.
Weird, interesting. Yeah. It's strange to think about how much space this place used to take up.
I know.
Yeah. Floors.
Yeah. I think there were like 40 people on PCWorld staff when I got here. I think. I'm not sure.
You guys started around the same time, or?
I started a couple years before he did, and then I left a couple years before he did.
I can never remember. Were you at GamePro proper?
Yeah. I was at GamePro from 2010 to 20. I was at GamePro until 2010, and then I joined PCWorld, and then I worked my way up.
Alex and I were talking recently about like when we joined, we were the 2 young people. I was 23 and an intern, and Alex was 27 and was like the next youngest person.
That's
I
right.
think.
Yep.
And then all the dudes we worked with, I remember thinking we're so old. John Phillips, so old. Brad, so old. And now I'm like, oh. They were like my age now. I think John Phillips was probably like a 40-something at the time, if I had to guess.
And Brad's like only slightly older than Alex.
Yeah. Brad is like, I think Brad was like 31 at the time, which when you're 23, that's like
fair. That is
so
fair.
old.
That is fair.
And I could never grow a beard, so I instantly just had nothing but respect for someone like Brad.
Yeah,
just instant gravitas.
It's like a very strange feeling.
Hayden, I got my own beard finally.
Yeah?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that means, but I'm so curious.
Hold on.
Yeah, she grew. Well, yeah, because everyone, Will had one.
Yep.
I have one. Well, I mean, Will still has one. Brad has one.
Yeah,
so
you can't talk about him in the past tense.
Yeah. I don't remember when.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Looks great on you.
It works out really well.
And so full.
Yeah.
It's looking a lot darker than mine too.
Yeah.
Like I think mine's starting to go the way of Adam's. It's
just be glad you can grow one.
Yeah, it was a gift from Will.
Aw.
I know.
Rest in peace, I guess. Adam keeps talking about him in the past tense. So
Absolutely not.
Sorry.
He's got a vibrant new podcast. Get in.
I was feeling left out because everyone else had a beard.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
And I wanted to blend in.
Are we okay? Adam?
Yeah. No, that's the fun part of being producer and host at the same time. Running back and forth. Sorry, people were saying the mics were hot. So
Really?
Yeah, it's my fault.
no. I don't think it's just you. We're also getting a little weird buzz.
Just shoot him down,
Well,
man.
now I'm hearing
Harsh.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's a gremlin in the system.
It is my fault. See?
Nope, I still hear it. Yeah. Who knows? Whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll do it live. Who cares?
That's the joys of podcasting.
Yeah, right.
And everybody does this live now, which I think is so fascinating.
Dude, we were the pioneers,
Yeah,
man.
no, I know. That's what I mean.
2016,
I feel
baby.
like Full Nerd was one of the first things I remember. Like, oh, a live podcast. That's so interesting. And now everybody is a live podcast.
Yeah.
The
I
idea of doing a
much prefer it.
pre-recorded podcast, like,
I much prefer it. I had to do it like weekly at IGN.
Yeah.
And like pre-recording, you had to make sure that it was recorded properly and you had to hand it off to the editor. And it was so stressful. This one, you know immediately, is it filming or is it not?
Well, theoretically, yeah.
Are the mics too hot or are
I
they
think
not?
it's really, if you're an
Thanks,
editor,
everybody.
it's got to be the best. To like the editing of an actual podcast, I think is a nightmare. And then when it's live, you're like, we can't do anything about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm
It's
not
like
going to
we're in
go
the
in
middle
and
of it.
cut all those ums out of the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
Great.
fun part. Are the mics still hot? People give us a little feedback. I'm going to give it a
How
one,
is the
one
rest
more
of the
second.
world doing heat-wise, by
Yeah.
the way? Are we back to normal again?
I'm supposed to go to Paris tomorrow, and it is supposed to be 105 degrees while I'm there.
Seems bad.
Yes, I don't.
Feels bad,
I don't
man.
think it'll be fun.
Are you going to bring like at least a portable fan with you?
I hopefully will have fans there. We'll see. I will not have.
I'm
an
your
AC.
fan.
I know that.
Yeah.
But thanks, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, my uncle's place does not have does not have AC. I know, but I think he has
it's like
fans,
it's like living in
so,
San Francisco. No one has AC.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot.
I was
So,
talking to a friend in Germany, and they said, "Yeah, we're finally considering getting an AC unit." I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh shucks.
Yeah,
I bet they feel like very ashamed too. Like
I don't know. I'm not European, obviously, so I don't know how deeply ingrained that whole "we don't do AC" feeling
I think
is.
It's like weirdly ingrained for
Is
a
it?
lot of them. Yeah.
For me as a San Franciscan, it's somewhere in between. You know, where part of me is like, I don't really need it, but I think I'm also just so used to AC that I'm not morally against it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I could do AC. I just don't.
Yeah,
need to.
don't really need
It's
to.
fine.
Although I do think the newer places with mini splits, they're probably sitting pretty right now.
Yeah.
I was thinking of maybe like, maybe I should ask for one before it gets crazy expensive. You know, like if a heat wave slams us the same way, then everything is just gonna go like the
Yeah.
roof.
I heard it was like 99 in the Mission like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
2.5
no.
weeks ago, something like
What?
that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's warm.
I was in LA at the time, so I can't verify, but that was what I was told.
I do remember the one time where I was in Phoenix, Arizona on Labor Day weekend, and it was 102. And San Francisco was experiencing a heat wave, and it was like 110.
Oh, really?
I said,
San
wow.
Francisco's hotter than
Yeah, it
Phoenix?
was like
Wow.
before the pandemic. And I remember looking at the weather report thinking, oh, I made the right choice somehow by going to Arizona still in summer.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go. Made
Because
the
they have
right
air
choice.
conditioning.
Get that dry heat.
You know, you also made the right choice by showing up for the podcast today.
Yeah.
So why don't
That
we get
was such a
started?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We just roll with it. That's how we do around here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do
How
that.
we're looking? How are the
I'm
gremlins?
gonna do that.
The
You know,
hamsters finally
the
fed.
the hamsters are fine. We're getting stuff going. Okay, cool. I think I got everything. What are we talking about today? That's the other part. What are we?
Good
Oh
question.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
There
like-
we go.
I was like, I've got everything except for the podcast.
Yeah, except for the actual,
You have
intro
the
of
people.
it. Yeah, I got the people. All right, cool. Are we ready? We're ready to go?
Yeah.
So ready.
Here we go. In this episode of The Full Nerd, we talk about how consoles are dying. That was mean. I didn't. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we know what lies deep inside your heart.
Okay. I won't be that mean. Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah. Well. Okay. What should I say instead? Consoles. Yeah. What's so funny?
Is the console
speak your
era.
truth.
Yeah. That's right.
Our console's cooked.
Our console's cooked. There we go. I like it. In this episode of The Full Nerd, our console's cooked and also the wonderful world of ergonomic hardware. There we go. One of those times. And welcome everyone to episode 406 of the Full Nerd Podcast, PC World's premiere. I see you looking at me. For some reason,
right.
you're just staring at me.
All
eyes on you.
No looking.
Yeah.
I was told not
So
to look
used to
into the
this.
camera and to look at people.
That's
So.
right.
Just like staring deep into out of his soul.
PC World's premier weekly podcast, giving the most level-headed takes on the internet about PC hardware news. I am your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Murray, but I am not alone. I have a full table of people here
That's true.
who are all staring at me. I'm going to start with my co-host, one
Hi.
Elena Yee. Hello, Elena.
It is me. And it is episode 406. You got that right.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. That's why
No, I heard the rising lilt in your voice. You're like 406.
it's always the question mark to make sure I have the number right. At the far end of the table, we got one Alex Waro. Hello, Alex.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going, we started the show. We're in it. But I'm excited because we have somebody back in the chair on the mic that hasn't been here in literally years. I don't remember the last time you were on the podcast.
Probably 2019 because it was pre everything else going
Wow.
poorly.
Yeah. So this is one Hayden Dingman.
Hello,
Who
everybody.
your official title used to be what? Games reporter or what was it?
I don't even know if I had a title. I was a permalancer, so it was like a fake title. But yes, I did a lot of games coverage. You might know me from a certain keyboard video.
I was about to say, I think of his title as Keyboard King.
Yeah. No, that was it was one of the it was within the first 10 episodes, I think.
Yeah, it was early on. Gordon was like so ready to do it too.
Yeah, so it was a blind keyboard challenge because you reviewed the gaming hardware for us, including keyboards, and you knew switches like really well.
Yeah, but we've talked about this recently, but like at the time there were like 5 switches. And I think
No,
that's
there was
really
more than that.
I think
Come
that's
on.
really the difference now is like the keyboard stuff has gotten so out of hand that now I don't think I could do it. But at the time, Cherry was the only company anybody cared about.
That's true.
And
True.
Cherry had like 5 switches anybody cared about. And it was
True.
like they all felt very different.
Well, either way, we blindfolded you,
Yes.
put a bunch of keyboards out in front of you, and Gordon handed you one, and you would hit a switch and then guess what it was. And we were all very impressed, especially when we saw that Gordon grabbed the same keyboard twice to give it to you, and you're like, "Oh no, hey, this is the same one," and we just erupted. We lost it. We're like, "Wow, he really is the keyboard king."
Gordon move.
Yeah, a real Gordon move for sure. But I mean, that's always just been there in our lore.
It's
from the
very
beginning.
funny because like I feel like if you would ask Gordon, what are the specs of this 1993 CPU? He could have told you off the top of his head.
Oh yeah.
But then if I was like, hey, I bet I could identify these keyboards without looking at them, he's like, wow, that's crazy. I could never do that.
Well, it was fun. I mean, yeah. So you reviewed games. We went to E3s. Even before I started, you and Alex covered stuff together. But the thing was coming in with hardware every once in a while and us doing stupid videos on it.
Yep.
Like famously, there was that one device that like blew air into our face when we would play a PC game. I don't remember the name of it.
I also don't remember the name of it.
But we panned it. Also, when Razer came out with gum, we just like, or maybe it was the powder or something like that.
Yeah.
We sat around a table and we just like tried it out, and we were
I
just
do
like,
remember that.
this is bad.
Yep. And I think the other thing I'm known for at PC World is the Razer mouse pad controversy /
I don't remember this.
Was it the one where you took
Brad
a piece of
would know it.
cardboard?
Yes, I compared. Razer was selling, I think, a like $100 mouse pad that lit up, and that was all it did. It lit up. It was not like the Logitech stuff that charges a mouse or whatever. It just lit up.
Well, just like around the edge.
Yeah. And I compared it to part of the box that I had cut out in the shape of a mouse pad and like taped to the desk.
It was fantastic. It's still on the site, I believe.
I'm not sure if any of the images made it through
I know.
Image Apocalypse, but yes,
know.
it was, I think, Brad's favorite article that I ever wrote.
It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah. So many good memories for sure. But yeah, you left us for reasons.
For pandemic.
Yeah, you've been working out in the wilds. I tried to get you back on episode 400.
Yeah, and you said, do you want to do a cameo for episode 400? And I said, no, I want a full episode for all the people who used to hate watching me on here. I want to annoy them for a full 2 hours. So
yeah, well,
that's what made it happen.
That's what we're going to do here. And we were talking like, okay, well, what can we talk about? Well, number one, there's not a ton of new PC hardware news. Number two, there's a lot of console stuff, so there's a lot of gaming.
It relates, though.
It relates, but there's also gaming stuff in general. We can talk about like the health of the industry, not just console related. But then also, you have been real big into ergonomic hardware.
I have. This is such a sad, like, we're all getting older.
Well, and I told our intern Glenn about this, and he's like, they make ergonomic gaming hardware? And I'm like, yeah, we're old, Glenn.
It's not even just old. Sometimes there are injuries to have to worry about.
There are, yes.
But you start to age up, and you start thinking about those things.
I think it does. I think the rise of ergonomic gaming hardware does mirror the rise in, like, the average gamer is now 36 years old or something. Like, that number keeps going up as well. And so I think there's some simpatico there. You're like, yeah, I need that vertical mouse now.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Unfortunately, Brad couldn't join us. He was real bummed that he couldn't join, but he'll hopefully be back next week. But I think we should get into it because there's some news about the consoles. We can, I mean, we're not here to report on the news for console stuff, but it kind of pertains to us a little bit. I mean, the first one, or was it the first where
Sony first?
Yeah, Sony came out and said, hey, in 2028, we're no longer going to produce discs for games after that point. And yeah, I guess I don't know the temperament of everyone at the table and how they feel about that. So Alex, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
How do you feel about that news?
Fine.
Yeah, fine. Okay, Elena. Down. Okay, thumbs down is what the audio listeners.
Both thumbs are down.
Both thumbs down. That's pretty serious. Hayden, are you a disc guy?
I think neutral. Like, I buy discs, but I also recognize that that's another thing that makes me old. I think it's because I've always bought discs. So
yeah, and I'm coming of two minds as well. Like, kind of in the middle. Like, I've been enjoying recollecting games of my youth. But number two, also, like, since Steam has been around, like, I feel like, when was the last time anybody here bought a physical game on the PC? Like,
during Prime Day.
Wow.
On
Really?
PC?
For
Sorry.
PC.
Sorry.
I was about to say, I was like, what? No, yeah.
I didn't let you finish your sentence. That's my bad.
Yeah.
That's my bad. I was too excited to answer the question.
I was like, what are they selling on Prime Day that is
I mean, I've got some
game?
boxes over here. We got the original Crisis and Spore. Like, I remember buying Spore in box for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, what was the last PC game you remember buying in box?
It was about a decade ago. It was the collector's edition of Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I really wanted that little statue. And it was a foolish choice.
Why?
I don't regret it for a second because it was a silly statue and $100 wasted. And,
that explains the look on your face. You
Yeah.
look slightly embarrassed.
Yeah,
I can't
should
understand
be.
why.
Yeah.
No.
I had it in this office.
No,
I had it set up on my desk, and everyone made fun of me. And I deserved it.
Well, you know why, though? It's because you were one of the youngest people in the office, and they just didn't understand.
That's right.
Oh,
It's
PCWorld
generational
did
bullying.
not understand games at that time. I think it's, like, slightly better now, but
yeah.
Slightly.
At the
I think
time.
it's
Much better.
much better.
It was like Brad and me and Alex and maybe Jason Cross, I think.
Yeah. There was the games beat was always hotly contested, and anyone over the age of 35 didn't care until relatively recently. So yeah, it was a fun time.
Well, what was the last PC game you remember buying
I was
physically?
really racking my brain, but I realized it's the Bethesda made that mini nuke with all of the original Fallouts in it.
yeah.
Like, now that was, like, also like 10 years ago now. That's, I think, the last PC games I bought, and I never even activated the discs that were in there because I already owned all those games on Steam. I just thought the
you just
nuke
wanted
was
the nuke.
cool. Yeah,
Do you still have it?
Right.
I do. It's on shelf at home.
Okay, all right. Elena, what was the last physical PC game you bought?
I don't think I've ever purchased a PC game.
Ever? Really?
Physically.
Physical form? No.
No, because the few discs I have were gifts or, like, hand-me-downs, so I didn't technically pay for them. But everything else I've paid for has either been digital for PC or a console disc.
That's just good, clean living.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that's why it's a little weird for me because on the PC side of things, like, we've just existed in this digital space for a while. And I mean, however however you feel about that, whatever. Like I like the convenience of having pretty much everything in Steam. Not that Steam is a perfect marketplace either, but it really is nice to just be like, oh yeah, I've got thousands of games here in Steam, and I mean, Steam's been around since, what was it, 2005, 2006? When did Steam launch?
2004, I think.
It was like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Was it
So
Half-Life 2? I forget.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 was the first thing that they were like, you have to have this in order to install Half-Life 2.
people were mad, and like it's generally in a good spot. But yeah, so on the console side, it's been slowly eroding away. Some consoles launched without disk drives, some were add-ons, attachments. Nintendo has the key card thing that they're working through. So I'm kind of looking at it from a distance, being like, all my console games that I buy now are pretty much digital, except for like very, very specific things that I want to collect or hold on to that have value for me. But I was also asking our intern Glenn, I was like, do kids nowadays even have that same attachment? Like for me, I paid over $100 for a disc of Symphony of the Night recently, just because I love that game. Yeah, a lot of money.
Gosh.
It's a whole separate topic. But I was like, are there kids nowadays being like, oh man, or they're going to grow up and be like, I remember when I got Minecraft in box. Like, oh, I really want to get that PS4 version of Minecraft in the box. Do you think they're going to have that same attachment to
No, but so. I don't know. You were asking Glenn a question, so maybe we should let him answer first. But I do have a response to that. Oh, he doesn't have a mic today.
Yeah, no.
What? We silenced our intern.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Glenn, you can borrow my mic if you need
you can
to.
come over if you want.
Over.
Yeah, so as our resident young person in the podcast, what do kids think about discs nowadays in your groups?
I'm gonna be honest, all my friends are PC gamers, so they never really bought discs.
They don't really,
that's fair.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
I would say the console friends, it's probably been a while. I mean, like, it's nostalgic, but I think they all probably got them off of it, like Amazon or like GameStop after the game came out. Like, I don't think any of them were waiting in line for Halo.
Wow. Yeah, good reference.
Wow, that's a good reference.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the game preservation part of it is the other part of it too.
I mean, so you're skipping ahead. I think
Sorry.
I want to
Please.
So there's somebody in the chat I want to highlight. Tor Melkson said, I feel a little hypocritical about this. I've been fine with digital only for PC for years, but I'm resistant of letting go of physical on console. I'm not sure why. I will give you a couple of reasons for your argument if anyone ever asks.
Please.
So one of them is access for kids who can't afford games. So a lot of libraries now, or at least a decent portion of them, do actually have game discs available for checkout. So this makes it possible for kids who couldn't otherwise.
Like library systems.
Yeah, like actual
yeah.
library. So you can check out a physical copy of the game if you want to play it. So that way kids who don't otherwise have access to a ton of games may have a little bit more access. So I feel really strongly about that. And two, I know this from having worked at Official Xbox Magazine for a long time. Most of the United States is fairly well networked at this point, but there are still a decent number of pockets, especially in more rural areas, that don't have decent high bandwidth connections. And so for them, having physical discs is really helpful. A little less so now that they push a ton of patches day one, and some of them are quite large. But at least for the most part, this still allowed them to kind of get around some of those restrictions. A lot of these people are using hotspots or like their phone tethering, trying to do some of this stuff. So I think for them, it just makes it even harder. Like the accessibility is even harder going to all digital. I would have less concern about this if we were as well networked as like South Korea or something, But I just do think that for me, this is a question of access. And yes, the pool of people who have access grows larger and has since I worked, in the console space 10 years ago. But I still think that until everyone's on board, it feels kind of bad to cut people out, even though I understand from a business perspective why they would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I came in kind of blasé about this, and I don't want to overlook or pave over those really important caveats, which is that people are going to suffer, they're going to get left behind. And with the death of physical media, there's a lot of death of control, user control. You can't loan stuff out. You can't borrow your buddy's game. You can't resell.
Yep.
And that sucks, for lack of a better term. It's no good. but I don't know how this is ever going to stop. I think the best we can do is hope that like libraries and other public interest groups can carve out meaningful rights and privileges for folks to borrow, like underprivileged people to be able to borrow digital copies, or figure out a way for us to do that and get better bandwidth to more parts of this country, because I just don't think Sony and Xbox et al. Are going to pull back.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I know the fine folks over the Digital Video Game History Foundation, or no,
Video
Yes.
Game History Foundation.
Video Game
You
History
nailed it.
Foundation. They are working to try to get that stuff in
That dovetails a bit with
public spaces, but yeah,
actually dovetails with the other news bit that I think you're about to bring up, which
yeah,
is that
please.
I think it was Tom's Hardware that reported that there is an archival project in Germany that just collapsed, basically because of this switch away from physical media, which is really sad. I think they made quite a bit of headway on it too.
Yeah. So lot of weird stuff changing. I don't know.
Well, it makes me sad too, though, because so we have this issue with film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a lot of films that are just kind of lost to time because nobody archived them. And that means that we are missing out on some of like the cultural and artistic expression of these periods. And if games are kind of the modern equivalent of this, that means we're also about to lose a bunch of history. Like, do we really want the early days of gaming just to be known for Call of Duty? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Frank Cifaldi at the Video Game History Foundation, though, like he put out a statement about this that was like, the discs are so like symbolic at this point that to some extent, as far as like archiving is concerned, it doesn't make a huge impact because, like you said, there's like patches day one, there's like all this stuff. So a lot of the time when you buy game on disc now, like that game is barely functional or whatever until that first patch installs. Like there's so many instances now. I think it was Battlefield that would like let you install the game before it actually was out, but then the like campaign option was just like grayed out and you couldn't select it because the campaign wasn't actually installed in the main install.
Yeah.
So there's like
I do
so many
remember that.
instances
It was,
like
like,
that
multiple
are
different
just
places.
like they've gotten so sophisticated at like locking out pieces of those discs anyway that like the thing you're getting on disc is usually not super useful. And so at some point I think this was going to be a problem the Video Game History Foundation and anybody interested in archival work was going to have to solve anyway. I don't think that they've been making like collections of PS5 discs and being like, all right, job done. Like, like there's so much stuff now. I think for me, the stuff that is more concerning is stuff like stuff that is fully online. Like if you want to play Warframe circa 2014 at this point, like that's just not an option. Or if you want to play Destiny 2 circa 2015 or whatever, like that's just not an option anymore. And I think that's the stuff that I find a lot sadder is like if you had these amazing online experiences, there's no way to ever bring those back. Like those disappear and they like kind of disappear for good unless somebody like fan projects it or finds a way to do some of that stuff. Or in a case of like WoW, the company itself is like, we're going to bring back
we're
WoW
going to resell you classic.
Ago. Yeah, if you want to play WoW from 20 years ago, we got you RuneScape as well, right? Like RuneScape, a big part of my teenage years. And like that's a game that they eventually were like, oh, you want to play RuneScape from 2001? This like 5 polygon game that you remember from your youth? Yeah, we'll let you do that.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that are from like the video game industry at this point, so much of it is online connected games. And those are like the hardest games for anybody to preserve. And so I think there's a lot of stuff that I'm concerned about in terms of like the biggest games on PS4, the biggest games on PS5, biggest games on Series X, like that generation. Are those going to be games that you can still play in 15 years? I just don't know. Without like a Halo Master Chief Collection style, like we're going to bring all these back for you. Like those games might just kind of be inaccessible at some point.
I wonder if that is a bit like the movie experience though, right? So if you are at a movie theater and you watch something and there's like a big reveal and the whole room gasps, like that's an experience that you can't necessarily recreate. And I wonder if that's very similar to the whole multiplayer server things going offline. thing going offline.
Yeah, I think, but you could still watch the movie at least. Like it's out there. You might not get the reveal, but like you could watch the thing. And I think my concern with the multiplayer stuff is a lot of times those servers go down, and it's like you just can't play this anymore. Like it's
I was
gone.
thinking more like our parents, grandparents era where they didn't have as much, video on demand.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, it is very much like a live concert experience. Like a live game can absolutely be like a once in a lifetime. Like, oh, you were right there. I mean, not to bring up Fortnite, I have never felt this way about Fortnite. But you can see. I mean, no judgment, but you can see whoever. You can see Olivia Rodrigo or whatever play in Fortnite, and to some extent, that is a once in a lifetime. You can never recreate that.
Dude,
again.
you had to be there, man.
I know you had.
had
She's
to be
huge.
there.
And it is, right? Like that's how I think people talk about WoW in 2006 or whatever, right? Like it very much was man, you had to be there. Like some of this stuff really blew our mind at the time. Like I still know people who play WoW and enjoy WoW, but it is definitely not the like we are on South Park level of WoW 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing now.
I mean, Gordon would always talk about him and Will and like all those old Maximum PC people like staying late and playing 1942 or whatever the Battlefield was at the
Arcade.
time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No.
I thought you were talking about the arcade
No,
stuff, and I was
no.
like,
No.
what? Yeah,
Back in the day.
Battlefield, yeah.
Back in the day.
And like, I mean, you could probably still technically kind of play those, but like, anyway. So I mean, the other question I have is, I've been kind of driving home the point of like I just see consoles becoming more and more like PCs. This is just another way it's becoming like a PC, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or PCs are becoming like consoles. Steam Machine just came out. It sits on your TV.
Yeah, you're so
play
excited.
anything on
I'm
it.
sure you're excited about that one.
The universes
Steam
are
Machine?
collapsing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
You got two.
I was excited about Steam Machines 12 years ago when they
we still have it.
Are you too
the
jaded now
one,
from
man.
that first experience, that first go around?
Yeah, so Adam was
behind
telling
the
me that
bar.
it's still like sitting back here.
Oh, yeah.
It's running. It's
It's right there. Is
It's
that the
air gapped.
Alienware?
Yeah,
Is that the Alienware?
Yeah, it's not connected to the internet. Don't worry, but it is there, still running.
That's wild.
So I don't know. Yeah. And also, I mean, if the rumors are true that the whatever the next Xbox is just going to have access to the Steam storefront kind of thing, this is just another being like, what?
Is that a segue? A mini segue?
Maybe
Yeah.
into what?
Into talking about the other piece of console news.
Oh yeah. No, please. I
I'm
still
all
consider you
console today.
the Xbox person on the
Yeah,
table. So
so
why don't you cover this one?
Big news yesterday. Head of Xbox came out and said that they're cutting, was it 3,200 jobs, 1,600, I believe, from the games division. And they are selling Double Fine and I forgot the other studio. They're selling 2 studios.
Selling, I think, Compulsion.
Yeah, thank you. There's like 5 studios, I believe, that were named. Like Arcane's up in the air.
Yeah.
2 are being sold.
It's Compulsion and Double Fine being spun
Yeah.
out immediately, and then Ninja Theory and
Undead Labs.
Undead Labs being like kind of. It sounds like given to an investor or something. I don't really know for sure.
Yeah.
It's being settled, and then Arcane, everyone's like, and they indicated that this might not be the last of it. So the TLDR version is there. It sounds like they are trimming back to what they used to be before they went on that gigantic acquisition spree. And the way it was described, and I read a couple of interviews. One of them was like with Fortune. And it was described as basically getting back to something, I think the quote was like core components of the gaming division, where the idea, I think, from the current leadership is that they spread themselves too thin. They weren't able to properly resource everything. And then now they're going to have to basically contract again to make it all work. Obviously, that's a problem for the studios themselves, the gaming industry. And it really makes me wonder, especially because this comes on the heels of the price hike announcement for the hardware consoles.
Right.
I don't remember exactly where I saw the quote. It might have been in the Fortune interview, but something like 80% is still in hardware for them, which I think is wild.
Really?
Yeah. And they were saying too, though, that Game Pass hasn't really worked out for them the way they thought it would. That the hardware component cost going up is not helping either. And basically, if they were a stronger division, if they weren't maybe cash strapped in a way, they would be able to weather the hardware stuff better, but they can't because they're stretched too thin, is basically how it's being described.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made me think, I have a lot of feelings around it, but my first thought was, wow, like at this point between Sony and Xbox, what is the point of having a console? And this is the first time I've like genuinely had this thought on the show. Like most of the people who are long-timers know that I have passionately defended the idea of a console. And I'm actually about to do my first Bazite build. Yeah.
Cool.
Woohoo!
So
Linux.
because part of me is wondering at this point, is it just going to be easier for me to set up friends and family this way? I don't have so many people that I would exceed my Steam family count, so I can share my backlog with them, right? And it's like way easier in some ways than having to maintain like two whole other ecosystems for them. And it's just, I've never thought this way before. It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Welcome.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
I don't like
Get
it.
up here, get a fresh breath, breathe deep.
Well, the
Forget
other
it.
thing
Leave it
too,
behind.
though, is so now we're getting to the feelings part of the show here, where you know how we were all saying that we have this attachment, right? Like, oh, I remember standing in line for doing this, or I remember that, like, consoles were so much part of our childhoods.
Yeah.
And like the idea of them kind of going away is really depressing.
I don't know they're going to go away in our lifetime, right? Like the Switch, the Nintendo's going to put out some piece of plastic with a screen for the next 30 years, I have to assume.
But a Switch is a little different. It's a
Sure.
handheld, it's a
Oh, yeah.
hybrid. I'm thinking more of like living room, meant to only sit under your TV kind of box.
Yeah, that home entertainment experience, that's a different thing. That's a different beast. And it's strange. I mean, I'm frankly very impressed that you're willing to even try considering bringing your friends and family onto Linux, Bazite or otherwise.
They won't know. I'm going to be maintaining it for them.
Well, that's exactly it, right? You're going to do tech support for them. I do think there's still a real value, and I'm not saying anything we haven't said before, but like giving a cousin or an uncle or a nephew a PlayStation 5 and just letting them have it. And they can just plug it in, set itself up, they can buy the games, easy peasy. Whereas like Steam, even that's like that's like three hoops to jump through. But there are hoops that are very worth jumping through nowadays. So
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because if a console costs the same as it does to build your own PC, or even costs more than sourcing used PC parts, where's the advantage outside of just the drivers are taken care of, you press one button and it updates the system for you? I mean, if software is the last thing, I don't know if that's really a strong enough argument for not all console gamers, but a decent portion of them.
yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it, I wonder how much the they're as expensive as PC thing is going to hold going forward. I feel like, and this is purely, I'm not in this anymore, so I don't have to pay attention to
Isn't it a great
PC
feeling?
hardware prices. Yeah. But my feeling / impression so far is that a lot of OEMs and a lot of PCs have been kept artificially low by the fact that they work in volume and have been able to like lock in contracts for multiple years so far. And so the RAM prices have not quite hit them. Like I had a friend who just said he bought a PC for like $1,000 within, the last couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, but that's
Like a pre-built or
yeah, pre-built. And I was like, that's because they were able to build that thing with old RAM prices. Like if you had to build that PC on your own right now, that $1,000 PC would be $1,500, maybe closer to $2,000.
Yep.
And so like I think there is this strange moment right now where the console prices have gone up quite a lot, but the PC prices haven't, because they've been able to sort of eat the cost for the time being, or they have had good contracts that have kept their costs down. I was actually, Alex, I mentioned this to you recently, like the Apple announcement from a few weeks ago of them raising laptop prices, to me is the real canary in the coal mine
Right,
of
yeah.
like, ooh, in 6 months, the PC market might look a lot worse than it currently does as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad it's going to get, but I can say that like I built a NAS in February, and 12 terabyte hard drives at the time were like $250, and I think they're now even more expensive than they
Everything's
were
gone up.
in February.
Everything's gone up.
Oh, yeah.
And so like that's where I start to look at the PC side and go, oh, I don't think this is going to be sustainable either. Like I think we're looking at, a PC that was $2,000 a year ago is going to be like a $4,000 PC, and that's very worrisome to me as somebody who likes that ecosystem as well. Like, but all that to say, I don't know, like with the console prices, I think everybody currently is comparing the two spaces and being like, man, these console prices sure have gone up a lot. Is it even worth it? But I don't know if
It's all going up.
the PC is going to be able to maintain like
We'll
where it's at
see,
either.
because we actually just did a build challenge last week. Kind of inspired by the Steam Machine, but not specifically targeting it. And we already can see the pricing having hit pretty hard on PC, but they like storage and RAM prices have sort of held stable, I would say, in the last few months. But again, you bring up a really valid point that could just be for the duration of this particular contract, and we don't know like when the next successive jumps would be.
Yeah,
but right now, things are a bit more stable, if more expensive.
I've also heard like very worrisome things about like OEMs. Like it might have been Matt Piscatella or somebody in the game space was talking about how at risk a lot of the OEMs are because their margins were already thin, and now it's like the prices have gone up so much. There's a lot of discussion about like the death of a lot of those boutique PC builders, and
Yes.
that's going to be, I think, another shock to the system when it's like, wow, now all of those are just gone, and like, what does a PC even look like in 5 years?
I'm really scared. Like CyberPower and iBuyPower height,
Yeah, I talked to a lot of vendors at Computex, and they were like, yeah, if a company doesn't have a foot in the enterprise space to prop up the consumer side, that's the hard part. I mean, but a lot of these companies like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, they're in that space already. Some of the boutique vendors, Puget Systems, Falcon Northwest, whatever, they've got enterprise customers as well. Yeah, it's more hey, we're just here making PCs for gamers kind of thing. We're just like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really strange time, I think, across the board. Like, I find it hard to know what anything will look like in 5 years, and I think the whole games industry is in a similar boat. Like, what is the games industry going to look like in 5 years? Like, I don't really know.
Except for, what was it, Summer Games Fest, Jeff Keighley went on stage and was like, hey, there's more games now than ever. We released 10,000 billion games.
Not a good thing.
I think that's like one of the most interesting lines from the Xbox thing, not to jump ahead, but there's a line in there where Asha Sharma says something about how like indie games are kind of the competition now. And I think it's really interesting because I don't think we've seen a lot of acknowledgement from publishers that like, hey, these games that are being made for a fraction of the cost are, and like much more efficiently maybe, are really a threat to like our business model,
which is AAA games.
Yeah, AAA games. Like I think the story of the last couple of years has definitely been the like peaks and repos and all of these tiny yap, like all these tiny games that like blew up. Right now it's Mecha Chameleon, right? Like these games are massive. I think Mecha Chameleon sold like 15 million copies or something.
Really? Wow.
Insane. That was I might be
I mean, they sold a
out
lot
of pocket
for
there,
sure,
but I'm pretty sure they sold something like 15 million copies. And that's like, I think, really interesting to hear a major publisher say like, hey, this is one of the threats to our business. It makes me curious whether we'll see like another initiative from 10 years ago when all the major publishers started opening their own indie publishers suddenly. Like we had it's funny because like all of those have been like divested over the years. Like 2K was like what choice provisions
or something.
EA had a
and Ubisoft put out like Child of Light and Valiant Hearts and all those
that was a
games.
good time.
And it makes me wonder if we'll see another reinvestment into that of like, hey, what if we right now there's a lot of boutique indie publishers still, like Fellow Traveler, Devolver, like all these people who only release what we would call indie games. I'll be curious if like the EAs and Microsofts of the world start looking around and saying, hey, we can also scout for indie games. We could be publishing these games.
How it all started, right? Because like Microsoft had the whole ID at Xbox, I think, right?
Yep,
Initiative. And then that just started drifting into acquiring studios. And then that drifted into acquiring bigger and bigger and then bigger, like Activision Blizzard and bigger studios. And now the whole thing kind of collapsed. So it would be interesting to see if this is just a whole like Phoenix death and rebirth cycle.
Well, yeah, like maybe this needed to happen, some sort of like equalization to be like, hey, AAA games can't continue to spend or cost this amount of money and have these many people working on it and just come out and be like, okay, it's another Assassin's Creed.
Right. It's the same problem though that we're seeing that we saw with movies, right? Where a studio execs would get like really focused on, we have to recreate the same magic. So they would focus just on their blockbusters, like make them into franchises. And they were ignoring like medium and smaller movies that could end up being, breakout hits. Mm-hmm. I really don't know.
I think it's hard when Microsoft was in a spot where they're like, yeah, we're going to gobble everything up, even the really big guys. And then they did. And then they're like, oh man, I ate too much. I can't sustain this. I gotta give some out. So
yeah, I think it's like sad is what I would say, like coming, I think it's just been like a really hard 3 years in the industry. Like I have a lot of friends who are unemployed and, have been unemployed for a while and
that worked at AAA game.
Yeah. Or I mean, everywhere,
or
right? Like
indie.
tech has done a lot of layoffs. Like everything has been like kind of a mess in the Bay Area and elsewise, like anything that is a big, tech adjacent job. And video games is sort of in there. And it's been really interesting because I feel like in 2008, when the financial crash happened, I remember hearing people in the game space say like, well, games are a recession proof industry because everybody always wants to play games, and the games industry actually came out of 2008 in a really good space. Like you think about the games coming out in 2007, 2008.
There were some good games.
Yeah, that's like Modern Warfare and first Assassin's Creed,
Gears of War.
Yeah, amazing. It is now like look back on 2007 as like this golden age of gaming, and at the time like the rest of the country was in dire straits, and this time it hasn't felt that way.
True.
And so it's been, I think, really hard to know like what is everything going to look like in a few years. But I do hope that it turns around because like I think everybody at this table loves games and like got into some of this stuff because they love games. And so to me, an industry with fewer studios, fewer games is like a sad industry. Like I'm a firm believer. I think there's a lot of us versus them mentality in game space from the players. But I think on the industry side, I think it really is a rising tide mentality generally of like the more people playing games, the better, the more games, the better. Like we just want this space to be thriving. We want people to have work. And I think it has been really sad the last couple of years to just be like, wow, there are fewer and fewer places making big games. Like even if you're just a fan of games, I think that should be sad to you that like, the average, the last generation of consoles, you would get like an Assassin's Creed every year or 2 God of Wars or whatever. Like all these games were coming out every year. And now it's like, oh, it might be 5 years before the next iteration of your favorite series is. Like, it's funny, GTA is going to be like the biggest game of this year, right? But like I had 5 GTA games come out when I was a teenager. Like that was like a real common occurrence. Or I had 3 Elder Scrolls come out between the time I was like 13 and 21. And now it's like we haven't had one in 16 years. Like I think if you're a fan of those series, like I hope that we come out on the other side of this and it's like, oh, we can make a new Elder Scrolls, or we can rein in the scope and like make some of these games in a more efficient way and get them out the door.
I think that's the biggest problem, right? Because I hate to tell you this, but 2007 was pretty much 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
So the world was very different then. The size of the industry was very different then. And I hesitate to say that we have too many games, but I do think there is so much choice. It makes it impossible for people to get on board with even medium popular titles the way that they used to, right? If you take a survey of a lot of people now, they are not playing the same things. And that means that everyone's money is spread in different directions. And so while it is really nice when you love a franchise to have yearly releases, I do think there is kind of a sweet spot where, hey, it's like maybe slow your roll a little bit. allow the
Assassin's
studio to
Creed.
have like whew.
Yeah.
Maybe allow people to have more time to develop the art side of it, not just push it out. Allow people to save enough money so they can actually support everything they want to support in a timely fashion. But I think one of the biggest issues I feel like in the game industry now is scope creep, right? Everything has to be successful immediately. Similar, again, I keep using movies as an analogy because to me, the media types in terms of entertainment and popularity and the rise in popular culture are very similar. And I don't think it's sustainable the way that we've been going about it. And I am worried because I do think that it is a great medium for expression. But if people can't support your vision, when you have literally thousands of people working on a single game, then it is really this awful loop downward where the big studios don't want to take a risk. The publishers exert additional pressure about taking risk. They keep pouring more resources into it to try to make it a success. But then if it flops, it just really takes a lot of things down.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, Hayden, I just don't know what the way out is at this point because everyone's trying to squeeze more and more out of this. And I want to preface this by saying that I don't love that the acquisitions have then led to, as you kind of said earlier, Adam, the whole throwing your lunch back up because you ate too much. What an image. Perfect, but what an image. I don't love that painful part of it, but I do think the industry is going to be healthier the more independence there is. And it's not so much that one publisher owns studios. It's back to the old system of more independent studios going through publishers to get their games out. And honestly, is that even necessary anymore? Because we have programs where you can just publish direct.
You don't need a publisher's help to get published on a storefront. You do need funding. And funding is the number one thing I'm hearing is hard to find right now. And if you can get it, it's going into projects that are maybe have key terms that are not like AI, for example, and other stuff like that.
What's your AI strategy, bro?
Just procedurally generate all day, every day. I'll do it all the AI all the way. Yeah, I think
Vibe code.
Yeah, exactly. I think unfortunately, like as these studios get divested from Microsoft, as more and more people are laid off and start up their own studios or hopefully get hired in places, the real trick is going to be how do we get funding into these studios to keep them going until there's funding coming into the market again, and until VC is no longer so excited to pour money into data centers, which is what I'm hearing is a lot of where the money is going right now.
Yeah. Interesting times. And obviously a lot of companies staffed up during the pandemic when they were like, oh, hey, everybody needs video games. We need more people making video games. And then it's like, oh, okay, we need to slow down. We can't sustain all those people.
Yeah.
So, which sucks to have layoffs.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is it's been interesting times for like years now.
Yeah.
Like I think in full transparency, like I got laid off in 2023. And I think at the time I was like, oh, well, this really sucks, but I bet in 6 months things will be better. And it has just gotten worse for 3 years, I would say.
Yeah.
And especially on the game side, it has gotten much, much worse in the last 3 years. There's not been a turn where suddenly more studios were being opened to replace the ones that have been lost over the last 3 years. And I think it is like hard to summarize how many people as a result are just going to leave the industry and take their knowledge with them, and games will be worse off as a result. Like there are so many people, some of the Xbox layoffs were Obsidian and id veterans of like 20 plus years, and it's like hard to like know how much knowledge is being lost in those cases where it's like, wow, this guy has been there through the shipping of like Fallout New Vegas, like these games, these legendary Obsidian games. And I think it can be really easy to lose track of that. And in some ways is like, you're encouraged to lose track of that and like focus on like the studio name, right? Like it's Obsidian, but like the games are made by people fundamentally. And when those people leave, the games are not the same anymore.
Right.
I don't really go in for like auteur theory, like, one person makes a game in their vision type stuff. But I do think that like a team.
There's some games though.
Sure.
But not all, not as a principle.
Yeah, like it's generally not how the industry works. And I feel like, but I do think that there are like teams that make games, and there are teams that like, okay, there are 10 of us who have been here for a very long time, and we are channeling a vision of what this studio stands for and what we make. And when you start to lose those people, it can be really hard to ever come back and make those games again. So yeah, I think that's the tragedy to me, is like, even if the games industry manages to turn this around, the funding comes back, the amount of knowledge that's been lost and the amount of people that will just decide like, hey, I could just go work in tech. I think that's like one of the things that is not as talked about nowadays, but like the games industry compared to a lot of other industries that those skills could be used in is like the worst paying option you could choose, because everybody wants to work in games and they think like, wow, it's so cool, it's my dream job.
I get to play games all day.
If you're a programmer in San Francisco working at, you know, a Double Fine or whatever, the amount you're getting paid is a fraction of what you could make working at Microsoft proper or working at any tech company in the Bay Area. And so at some point you just go, I don't know if this is worth the hassle. Like, I have a mortgage, I have a family. Like, why am I doing this? And that sort of knowledge loss, like, you can't replace that. Like, even if the industry turns around, you can't just bring in somebody new and replace somebody who's been there for 15 years and knows the ins and outs of Unreal and all that. Like, it's just never going to be the same.
Well, I mean, because of this, though, do you feel like you find yourself playing less games?
Totally not. And I think that's the other...
That's the weird part, right?
And that's why I said, like, the Microsoft statement is so interesting, because I personally hear a lot of people say, I don't think this generation has any games. Like, I've heard that so many times. This console generation hasn't even gotten started. Like, where are the games? Blah, blah, blah. I understand where that compulsion is coming from, because I think from a AAA standpoint, this generation has felt very thin. If you are a person who just plays Assassin's Creed, you know, Halo, FIFA, like
whatever.
the biggest, those keep coming out. But like the biggest games, even like Call of Duty, right? Like Call of Duty has had years that it's really good this generation, and
or
then
like
years
Naughty
where
Dog hasn't
everybody's
had
like
a big one in a while.
Totally,
right?
There are people who have not released games this entire generation. You look at that and you're like, yeah, this does feel like a pretty thin console generation. But I am personally inundated with more games that I could possibly hope to play. Right. Every week I go onto the store and just go like, wow, there's 10 more games that I think look cool and I want to play. And where am I going to find the time for all of this? Like, I'm in the middle of Directive 8020. It's been really cool. Before that, I was playing Mina the Hollower. Before that, I was playing Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. Like, it's been like an amazing year for video games personally, but none of those games are what people would traditionally think of as like big budget, massive video games. Maybe Directive 8020 is like on the caliber of a AAA game 15 years ago, but it's still like a very short, 8-hour story-driven experience. And so I think there's two ways it can go, right? Like, you either stop playing games and kind of go that direction, or you adjust what your idea of video games is and find out that there's like a wealth of video games coming out all the time. I think the challenge with the latter is, how do you, to Elena's point earlier, like, how do you find those games? How do you discover that Directive 8020 might be something you're interested in, or Mina the Hollower might be something you're interested in? Like, if you know Shovel Knight, cool, of course you're going to play Mina the Hollower. But if you are just like a casual person trying to figure out what's good on Steam this week, or trying to open up your PlayStation and be like, what should I play? It's so hard to find the stuff that actually might resonate with you, because there are 8,000 games a week, and it's just overwhelming.
So my problem is, my friends got super into Overwatch during the pandemic. I almost literally have not played any other game in maybe over a year at this point.
Nice.
That's wild, but congrats.
I know, yeah.
I don't love that for myself. I don't love it for myself, but here's the thing. The company can't make money off of me, right? I'm not really contributing to the industry because I'm not buying games, but also because there's that wealth of choice that I don't work in games anymore, or even adjacent to it. So I don't really know what's current, and I don't really have the honestly the time to dig through and go, oh, that's close enough to the kind of platformers I like. Oh, that's close enough to the kind of like open world action adventure games that I like. I'd have to go through all of that and then still find the time to invest in those games. And if there was a service that could say like, hey, you like these kind of games, like we'll let you know, like this is what you should be, have on your radar, great. But otherwise, I'm going to be another comp match wishing that I wasn't in that comp match.
And you'll be there forever.
Yeah, maybe like Don't Stop Girly Pop. Like I'm trying to think of fun shooters that came out this year.
You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, it's definitely, I think it's a challenge for, and we've been hearing about this challenge for like 10 years now. Like I think the discovery queue on Steam is like 10 years old at this point. Like everybody in the games industry, I think, knows this is a problem, but like solving it has proved very elusive because the problem is too much of a good thing in some ways.
What if you could just send out a disc with a bunch of demos
With a bunch
on
of demos.
it? Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what like Steam Next Fest has been kind of really good for, right? Like there are a lot of games that I hear about for the first time coming out of Next Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like struggling to think of one offhand now, of course, because we're on a podcast. But like there have been a ton of games that are like small, maybe flying under the radar, and then they come out of Steam Next Fest, and you're like, oh wow, this game blew up. Like Forbidden Solitaire is a great example from this year. Forbidden Solitaire, I love Gray Alien. I love all their solitaire games. Regency Solitaire, an amazing game. Ancient Enemy, an even better game. Like they make amazing high quality solitaire games, but Forbidden Solitaire was the one that like blew up for them. Like I think I know nothing about their sales, but my impression is that that game has sold probably more than all their other games combined, and they've been making games for like 20 years. Do you know what I mean? It's that level of success, and they really built that through Next Fest and responding to the community, putting out demos, like all these things. So I think that is almost coming back in a way. But now we're hearing there are too many Next Fests. There are too many demos in Next Fest. So then you're like, oh no, that discovery mechanism is also kind of falling apart. It's tough.
It's weird.
It almost feels a bit like very early days of YouTube, right? Where you had to kind of find for yourself who was going to be able to give you the information that you needed. And eventually it built its way to the point where you could find specific creators that had your interests, so they would surface that for you. But we haven't gotten to that point yet, I think.
I don't know. You're all right, and I do want to this has been an ongoing problem in the game industry for at least 15 years. Like I can remember game developers talking about the problems of discoverability in like 2012, 2011, and it continues to be horrible. But I think Steam has done a better job than any other platform, even though they're not great at it and not perfect at it, at being pretty good at tailoring recommendations and like driving sales by driving a game to someone's front page. Whereas Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, like they have a lot of room to improve to actually like help sell the games that are on their platform that people don't even know exist. Like you're absolutely right.
Well, and also having sales to begin with, right? That's the one thing that continues with PC gaming is that it's just like, oh, PC gaming, sure, it might be the most expensive one to get into, but once you're into it, the games are way cheaper than console. Like I think that definitely plays a factor into it.
Although I got to tell you, every time I turn my Xbox Series X on, there's a sale going. I don't know if they're desperate or what.
How often do you turn it on though?
Okay, like once every 3 months. But once every 3 months, there's a sale.
I mean, they've always had sales, but whether or not they're good is really the question,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
I think for me, just to play off of what you just said, I think that is true about coming from the platforms. I was thinking more of discoverability through word of mouth, because the ecosystem has changed so much. Before, you would pick up a magazine, it would have a bunch of reviews, previews, whatever. It would have a demo disc, and that was basically the most exposure you got. And then we started all going online, and you could hear, forum talk, whatever. Now there are, subreddits, YouTube, social media, but again, that's so much noise. There's so much noise around that too. It's like, then how do you discover the right people to discover things for you?
Right.
Giant bomb.
I think part of it is, that's like I still listen to Nextlander. There are definitely some that I listen to.
But they skew to our age too.
Yeah, so. and they also skew towards, I think, still the biggest games usually. Like it is hard for anybody to play everything, and that is a challenge. And to that point, I think part of the mentality shift has to be acknowledging I'm just not going to be able to play everything. And I think that's really hard because I think growing up, I was able to play every game of note that came out every year. Like if
and
you look at
sometimes play it so much because you're like, well, the next thing ain't coming out for a couple months, so I guess I'll just keep playing the same thing.
When I think about the N64 library or anything of that era, it's like, yeah, I played probably the 50 most notable games on that platform, and everything below that level was not worth playing anyway. And so it was really easy to be somebody who is fluent in video games of the time. And I think that continued all the way through the end of the 360 era and the rise of indie games. It was very easy to play every game that came out. I remember when I started at PCWorld, I was able to go on Steam every week. This was before they allowed anybody to publish whatever they wanted to Steam.
Oh, really?
It was still curated.
Oh.
And so you could go on Steam every week and look at the upcoming games and be like, cool, one game that I am looking forward to playing next week, we are going to reach out for a review code and get a review code. And then Greenlight started, and Greenlight sort of broke the first dam on like, oh no, there's too many games for anybody to play. Even then, it was like 10 games a day. You could go on I used to, when I was building review calendars for PCWorld, I would go on the popular, upcoming, or the new and trending sections on Steam and just scroll through because it was all date aligned and be like, oh yeah, okay, we want this one, this one, this one, this one, and just kind of build out a calendar that way, even of stuff that was like indies at the time. You could find the 2 indies a week that were going to be worth covering. We couldn't cover everything, but it was still like you could keep abreast of everything coming out. Now it's like every day I open up Steam, I go to the new and trending tab, and it's like 8,000 games long, and you're like,
a lot of them are porn
okay,
games.
cool. I just can't.
What? Shocking.
I can't find anything that is like trying to find that needle in the haystack is so hard. And so now I do find that there are games that I've never heard of that have 500 reviews on Steam or whatever. Like they've broken big as far as Steam is concerned, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this game once.
Yeah, same.
I never heard of it before release. I didn't hear about it after release. This game came out 2 years ago, and I've never heard of it.
And the fun, air quotes, wrinkle to all of this, speaking as the person who covers privacy and security on PCWorld, because there's so many of those out there, you don't even know if it's going to end up becoming a mechanism for malware dumps on your system.
Yeah. Things are, I think it's hard. And I think, I would say to Elena, like the Overwatch thing is really interesting to me because I feel like part of it has to be at some point, you know, you phrased it as like, well, where do I even start? And I feel like you have to just like go start and be like, you know what? I'm just going to take a winger on this game. It's $4 on the Steam sale. And I'm just going to like, maybe it'll be my favorite game. Maybe it won't. Like, I just need to break out of the habit of like playing the same game every night. Cause I think that's like an easy trap to fall into when it's like a choice paralysis thing, right? Like
it is.
I played so much Destiny 2 for a few years because it became my default game. And
all your friends were there probably too.
Yeah, for a while. And the shift that I have made personally, and I don't think this is for everybody, but the shift that I have made is I don't play any game that doesn't have an ending anymore. Like I just stay away from a lot of multiplayer stuff entirely, or I play it only with friends in specific set times. So that then everything else I'm like, oh, this is going to be 8 hours and then I'm going to move on. There's no like, I've put 1,000 hours into Destiny 2 and like, what did I get for this except for the satisfaction of 1,000 hours in Destiny 2? Like it has become more of a forcing mechanism for me to be like, oh, Directive 820 is going to be 10 hours and then I'm going to move on. Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, 8 hours and then I'm going to move on. Mina the Hollower, 15 hours, I'm going to move on. And
well, until you get like a Vampire Survivors or something, you're just like, oh no,
and
or Balatro, and you're like, oh man,
like,
I
just try to stay. There's a whole class of game that I'm like, if I play this, I can't help myself. I'm gonna play this for too many hours, and at the end of it, I'm gonna feel sort of gross about the amount of time that I spent playing this. Like, I think the last one of those was Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I played probably 100 hours of that and was like, this is disgusting. Like, what if I could have spent 100 hours learning bass or, you know, setting up a NAS or whatever. Like, there's so much stuff. It doesn't feel like at the end of that time that I really loved that time or like had an experience that I feel like is worth having.
No, that's fair. That's all super fair what you're saying. I do think for me, it's also just a little bit of breaking old pandemic habits.
Totally.
Where because I wasn't able to see people in person, that was my only social outlet. So when a friend says, hey, do you want to hop in a match? My first instinct is to always say yes.
Yeah.
But then now I'm thinking, but no, I actually can just go out and get lunch with somebody.
And I think that's
way more
different with
fulfilling.
friends too. Like it's like that sort of I think we've seen the rise of Peak and Repo and all these like friend slop games. And I think that has been part of that is like, it's nice to hang out with friends and play games sometimes that you would be like, this is not an amazing game for me to play by myself. So I don't think it's like no Overwatch. I just think
No,
like,
you're not wrong.
definitely when it's like, I think the like where do I start part is where I'm like, you just gotta like pick one and be like, well, this is the game.
It's not hard to Google. It's not hard to look up reviews. It's just that, again, I actually also still ask myself the same question as you, which is, I could just be learning Spanish right now. Like the hour to 3 hours I would take to research my next game, I could actually just work on some actual life skill that would serve me better.
Yep. I think that's the hard. I feel like when I was a teenager and people talk about stopping playing games in their 30s, I was like, oh, I'll never.
Yeah. We all had that. Yeah.
But I think as I've gotten older, there are now times where I'm like, I think I'd rather read than play video games. And like that's also fine, I think.
Or real talk, as someone in the like middle age, maybe I should go do some jumps so that I don't have to worry about osteoporosis in 15 years.
Stretching for me for sure.
Another.
Ew,
So again, 1 to 3 hours researching my next game, or an hour in the gym.
Or researching some ergonomic hardware.
I was gonna say that was a perfect segue.
No, the perfect setup.
No, but actually I'm going to break it because we need to pause for an ad.
Wow.
And look at that, we're back, and we're going to talk about ergonomic hardware. Why is what young strapping intern Glenn was like, ergonomic hardware?
And you just need equipment that will help you weather that a little better.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell a story briefly, which is when I went. So a couple of years ago, I went to a neurologist because I was having a lot of forearm pain.
Oh.
And was like, man, what is happening? Like, I can't even hold a mouse for more than half an hour. Ooh. And I start having tingling in my forearm. And I went to the neurologist and he was like, okay, well, did you injure yourself or is there any reason you can think of why this would happen? And I was like, well, I ride a motorcycle. I just did a 12-day motorcycle trip, and that was 6 hours a day on the bike. I also play guitar, and that might be contributing. Also, I play a lot of video games, so it was right after Baldur's Gate 3 had come out, and I put about 100 hours into Baldur's Gate 3 in a month. And I remember I will never forget, just looked at me and was like, yeah, I mean, you have to stop doing that then. And I was like, well, that's not an option. And he was like, then you're going to have forearm pain. I don't know what to tell you. That's a lot of stress to put on the same joint. And so, yes, the reason I got into ergonomic hardware was because the options were stop playing video games or get a vertical mouse. And I chose to go with the latter.
Did you find a decent gaming vertical mouse?
I have. Oh, wow. This is a perfect segue.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We have show and tell.
we
For
were
audio listeners,
prepping for
I do
these.
highly encourage you to... Wait, is that the Razer one?
It is the Razer one.
You like that one? I felt
like
that it
it.
was really
It's
sluggish.
It's very heavy.
May I?
Yes, feel free, please.
Okay.
So a vertical mouse, please describe to people what a vertical mouse is, 'cause some people might not
So
know.
a vertical mouse, basically, I was a big, beforehand to give my bona fides, I guess, was a big G502 fan, used a G502 for
Classic.
10 years, starting from the first one and going into their rechargeable wireless G502. Amazing mouse, still really swear by it. But it starts to get really hard for me to hold my wrist like this for a long period of time.
Palm down.
Yeah, palm down. And so a vertical mouse basically just rotates your wrist up like you're giving a handshake, so that it's a more natural position for your wrist to be in for a long period of time.
Basically, a vertical mouse looks like if you took a standard mouse, flipped it onto its side, and then you put a piece of plastic. You just but you like mold a piece of plastic to it so it can actually stand upright like that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a vertical mouse.
Yeah, and it's, I would say, kind of an adjustment at first, but it has made such a huge difference for me in terms of being able to use my computer for a long time. So before this Razer mouse, I was using a Logitech MX Vertical for a long time, which I think is like the go-to vertical mouse for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing mouse. The battery life is really good. The main problem with that mouse is the sensor is not amazing.
I was just gonna ask, I don't think so. One of the things that when I talked to Razer about this mouse, because they sent me one to try out, they're like, this is not meant for gaming. We are just expanding our line because people have asked to include ergonomic hardware.
I don't agree. I think
they
they're
were just
saying
being
that
conservative about it, but I did think
they're
it was
saying
interesting.
that because it's so heavy, and I think that people who are light mouse purists would be like, I can't game on this at all. It's so hard.
Well,
but coming from a
lot of times when Razer does these briefings too, they're like, "Oh yeah, we consulted with esports players, and like this is totally what the esports players use." You know, these ones are like, "Nah, we didn't consult any esports people."
They actually, when we had the briefing, they said to me, "I just want you to know." We are not marketing this for gaming.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's fine, dude. I'm going to try it, but I have heard you.
And I think they are being conservative because otherwise you're going to have like a 25-year-old esports guy who's like, this is not gaming ready.
Yeah,
like I can't play on this at all.
Their actual gaming line against it.
Comparing a Death Adder against this. I'm coming the other direction, which is like I'm coming from an MX Vertical, which was not good for games. When I had the MX Vertical, I would keep a 502 on my desk next to it so that then whenever I played games that needed like a real mouse response, I could reach over and grab the 502 and play Doom or whatever.
Did you have them plugged in simultaneously?
No, my 502 is wireless. It's one of the light speed or what is there? Rechargeable mouse pad thing. And the MX Vertical is also wireless, so they were both wireless.
No, but I mean, did you have them connected to the same computer that you could just switch?
Yeah, so I could just switch. 502 was just like sitting there with whenever I needed it. So like Doom or I don't know, anything that wasn't like a puzzle game. Basically, I would use the Vertical for puzzle games, but anything else, I would grab the 502. Coming from the MX Vertical, I would not say, like I said, this Razer mouse, very heavy, which is like my one complaint about it. But the sensor is so good in this that I was able to...
Are you able to switch the level, though? Like on a gaming mouse, DPI?
Yes. Yeah, you can switch to DPI.
I don't remember. That's why. It's been a while since I've tried that one. It, unfortunately, for me, because I have smaller hands, it doesn't feel quite as good in my hands.
It is very large. Yeah.
It is. For Meteor Pop.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this.
Yeah, I think like it's meant for like a Hayden or an Adam size.
I can actually see on you too that it actually fits better. On me, I actually felt it was very sluggish because the combination of weight and not being quite the right fit.
Yeah. So like not for everybody, but like the sensor on this Razer mouse, and apologies, I guess is the Razer Pro Click V2 Vertical Edition.
Oh, how could you not?
I think that this has been such a game changer for me. I played all of Doom Eternal. That was last year's.
Nice.
Dark Ages.
Dark Ages. Doom Dark Ages. I played all of that on this mouse and didn't have a problem. I've played a lot of other like high fidelity,
nice
speedy mouse response games on this and not had a problem.
I gotta ask though, when you do it, are you doing it right? Because like when you go to a vertical, I found like you can still mess yourself up if you use your wrist. The whole time you have to relearn how to use your whole arm.
You got it, and I think the weight of this one really helps with that because it's so heavy that like moving
it would feel bad on the wrist.
Tough. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of like moving. Well, for audio listeners, we're just moving the mouse around on the table, but moving that thing around with your arm. I think I've adjusted to it, and I have found it really nice and viable compared to the MX Vertical, which I still love. I use the MX Vertical now for like a work computer situation. Like I will take that to an office and use it, but the Razer has taken my desk spot at home.
Oh, nice.
And I use it for all games and stuff now. It's been like really a game changer because Yeah, it's the first one of these that has a decent sensor. I think Keychron also makes what's supposed to be a like pretty solid vertical mouse these days for
Really?
gaming.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure they have like a solid.
Oh yeah, a M5 wireless ergonomic mouse.
Ooh.
This has been something that I've researched a lot because the mouse is definitely the thing that I notice the most because of the rotation of the wrist.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would want to preface this. We've talked about ergonomic equipment before on the show, and it is very much based on your body.
Totally.
Right. So, for example, this Razer mouse is pretty much a true 90, right? It's like flipped straight up. Whereas this Keychron one is more slightly at an angle.
Yeah, it's more
And
angle.
so you're not in a true handshake position. You're more, if like maybe 10 to 15 degrees off of that. But for some people, that's going to be much more comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's like the MX Vertical is also sort of canted over a little bit.
It's really dependent on like how much strain you already have on your wrist, how much tolerance you have for certain things, how it even fits in your hand. I was just watching Alex put his hand on that Razer, and his hand's even larger than
got large
Adam's,
hands.
and that looks like a dainty
It's a little baby
mouse in his hands, and I don't think that would be comfortable for him to grip that.
I could use it a little bigger, but it's a
Yeah.
good size.
Well, and that's like I don't even know where you would find a larger. Like this thing is already so
Right?
big for a.
But it's fine to say that it's not suited for your hand.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're ultimately the one who's going to be spending hours with it. So if it doesn't fit, they don't use it.
Yeah, well, and to your point, I think it's hard to know sometimes what is causing the problem. The thing that the neurologist was able to tell me is that if I was having pain in my forearm, it's actually a shoulder problem, which I never would have guessed. I thought it was a wrist problem, and I was doing a lot of the wrist stretches. But no, apparently the nerves in your forearm branch off of your main trunk at like the shoulder level. And
thoracic
so
outlet,
actually it is a like shoulder tightness problem that I was having
Interesting.
from probably like gripping a mouse at a weird angle for too long. So
Yeah, I think I have the same issue. It's called thoracic outlet syndrome, and I think the most frustrating thing for folks who are thinking about getting into ergonomic gear, us older folks, is that I wrote about this for years in a prior life, and I interviewed like ergonomic consultants and stuff. And what's really tricky is that everyone is different, so you don't actually know which mouse and which slanted keyboard or split keyboard is going to be best for you until you try them out. But you do know that the regular rectangular keyboard and a flat mouse is going to be bad for you.
Yeah.
Like it's not good for anybody. It's just if you don't use it enough, you won't notice. But if you spend your whole time writing and then you play all night on the PC, then you are going to end up. So I recommend if you can get to a Best Buy and try their vertical mice out. They might have one or two, maybe three. They might have a split keyboard, but unfortunately, there really is no real way to know what the right piece of gear is for you except trial and error.
Yep.
And
And a lot of this stuff is kind of expensive, right?
It can be,
It
yeah.
can be.
Let's-
It's gotten better though. So
Yeah.
here's my recommendation for people who want to get started but don't want to invest a lot. They have, before you get into the gaming side of it, there are much more affordable like ergonomic vertical mice on Amazon. So I think Anchor puts out one, and it's like $15. It's a bit more size, probably like that Razer. So for me, it's not as comfortable, but it's still at least a good starting point to see if that kind of orientation works for you before you start working your way up to more expensive things. A trackball is also worth.
Love a trackball.
Yeah, Adam is pumping his fist in celebration. Trackball is also a potential option. I don't love that for me personally because then my thumb joint gets really tired, especially with all the phone use these days. But again, you have to try these things, and those two types.
That's why you get a finger one. Use
weird.
The big ball. So say it's the finger. I like big balls.
You did
And you
mention that
cannot lie.
before on a different episode.
So it strains maybe the fingers more than the thumb.
Yeah. But here's the other thing, too, that I learned from when I did PT, because I had to actually go through a bunch of PT for the injuries that I had, is that variety is also one of the best things you can do for yourself.
Oh.
So when I was first recovering, I actually would switch every like month or so between a vertical mouse, a trackball, trackpad, and then eventually I got my roller mouse. And you can look this up. I think the company is
Contour?
Contour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're great.
And everyone who first sees it gets a little freaked out, but they're really, really useful. They are basically just like this long rolling thing that you use to kind of control, and you move it side to side like a mouse.
It's like a wrist rest, basically. It kind of
It
sits
has that
underneath your
too.
keyboard, right?
Yeah, it sits below your keyboard, and the thing is that you can use it dual-handed really easily. So if you're a southpaw, it's really nice for that as well. Unfortunately, there aren't as many left-hand friendly vertical mice. But like bouncing between all those options is really helpful, and track balls and track pads you can try too. Not as common these days. And then vertical mice, those you can get pretty cheaply. So if you don't like them, you can always donate them. As for the keyboards, though, split keyboards can be much harder to find cheaply.
So I was gonna
Segue.
jump into this fancy keyboard that I brought.
Very fancy.
So is that
cool.
the Dyna?
This is the Digma Raise.
It is the Digma. Okay.
This
I
is
want one.
technically the Digma Raise 2, I believe. I guess I should light up both halves for the
It's
viewers at home.
fancy.
So yeah, this keyboard is the most expensive keyboard I've ever purchased in my life.
And it looks like a gamer one, too.
I think this was $450.
Yep, those are
for my
very
fully
pricey.
kitted out one, which did include like tenting and wireless and a bunch of stuff that you can get one for slightly cheaper. I think it's $300 for the base model, and I bought the fully loaded model. What I really like about it for gaming, and this will be slightly weird to describe on the mic, but this thing looks like a standard keyboard.
Yeah, that doesn't look ergonomic
Yeah,
at
it
all.
looks like a standard flat keyboard, but then it like splits apart. Ooh, there's
Magnets.
Yeah, it's like it's not actually magnets. It's like two little pipes
Rails.
on each
Oh,
side.
okay.
Yeah, there's little rails in it that make it split in half into two different keyboards.
You
and
just
then,
did it so
Is it a
smoothly. I
wireless?
thought it
Yeah,
was.
it is wireless. Yeah,
Like between the two halves?
it
do you
is
have to have
wireless to
cable?
your computer.
Oh,
so
okay.
yes.
So you have to have a cable between the two.
No.
No.
Each half is connected to a dongle, and then the
Oh.
dongle plugs into your computer.
Weird.
So it's
So
wireless.
that's different
to the
than even
dongle.
the.
Wait, you have two dongles,
Asus
then
one.
you have to plug into your PC?
No, there's like a single cable that comes out of your PC and plugs into a single dongle, and the dongle connects to both halves of
Oh,
the
nice.
keyboard.
Okay. That's
so-
actually quite smooth.
And then you can connect it through wires if you want a wired mode. So it has a switch on the back for wireless or wired. So I usually actually run them wired. I thought I would run them wireless, but then I don't actually need to very often. So I usually run them wired. But the nice thing about this keyboard is like once you split it, it has all of the tenting features of a
tenting.
normal ergonomic keyboard. So I usually run mine at like 45 degrees or so. And it just kind of sits on your thing.
How sturdy is it?
It's very sturdy. I don't know if I actually got these in the right spot, so it might. Yeah, I think it's fine.
I didn't even think to do show and tell because I actually should have grabbed my Gold Touch.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should have grabbed my Moonlander.
That actually feels pretty good.
Oh,
I mean,
that's cool.
yeah,
It is.
Moonlander is really nice
If you
as
don't
well.
mind, I can
Moonlanders.
actually literally run and grab it.
Yeah,
but-
go grab it.
Do it. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you all talk about this very fancy and very expensive. So this was actually one of the first mechanical keyboard,
Yep.
like split keyboard options, tenting too, out there. And I think it was Will or somebody else who pointed me in that direction, or maybe somebody from our Discord server. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's so nice, but I cannot justify $350 to $400 for an ergonomic keyboard that has mechanical switches because I'm not even going to be gaming on this thing.
Yeah, and that's the main thing is like I got it because I was writing on my PC all day and then gaming on the same PC, and I was like, I need something that can do both, and also. The thing that I like about it folding flat is like there are games like Doom, for instance, where you need to use all 10 number keys across the top.
Oh, so you link them back.
Yeah, so I can
up.
link them
Oh,
back
okay.
to be flat, so I don't have to. Otherwise, you'd have to do this weird like reach across and like hit the button the wrong way.
That makes sense.
So it's really nice that it lays flat, and you can connect them into a standard gaming keyboard if you want. But I do usually use them as a.
Dude, you can go to 60 degrees.
Yeah, you can go like.
No, it
pretty-
feels really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. My hand is just
So,
like.
so the base, I'm about to go run my show and tell piece in a second, but I will say that if anyone is out there trying to figure out like how to DIY this a bit more cheaply, the whole purpose of tenting, the whole purpose of vertical mice is to get your body into a more natural, ergonomic, comfortable position, and that is that handshake position. So
Neutral.
the closer you get to that neutral position, the more comfortable it is for your body.
Yeah, like I said, I run like 45 usually, 45 degrees, which is not as much as it can be, but is still quite tented. And at first I thought it was going to be really hard to adjust, both to the split keyboard and to the tenting. And now I use it pretty much all day, every day, tented. Don't really think twice about it. In fact, the only thing that I find hard about this keyboard is it doesn't have some pretty standard, it doesn't have like a tilde key and stuff. So if I do any coding on this, these buttons down here at the bottom underneath the space bar.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have
actually,
like 8 space bar.
Yeah, so 4 of them are space bar technically by default, but the 4 underneath that are layer keys. So you can do a fully programmable second and third layer. It's not going to let me do it because I'm not connected to my PC right now. But usually when I hit one of those buttons, it changes all of the lighting on the keyboard so that you can see like, oh, now I'm on layer 2. And so I have a keyboard layer that's just for programming that has like a semicolon and a tilde and all of the symbols that you would typically need.
M-dash.
Yeah, I actually have an M-dash. This is a hot tip from being a reporter. I have an M-dash mapped to the right shift key because I never use the right shift key for anything. I only use the left shift key for shifting. So my right shift key is my dedicated M-dash key at all times, and I just tap that to get one.
Oh, weird.
Because same thing, you cannot obviously type Alt 0151 on a keyboard with no numpad. So
you can actually also map a layer for a numpad. I've done that.
Yep. I think that's what it comes by default on the Digma Rays. Is there's a numpad layer on layer 2, I believe, on this half of the keyboard.
I got to tell you, one of the things I like about that, which usually the ergonomic stuff doesn't have, or like we got in, what was that, the Asus one?
So the Asus one, I can talk a little bit about this because I actually have done, I'm in the middle of a very, very long-term review of the Asus one. And
I don't remember the name of it.
I also
What
did
was
the
name of
key, it's a Falcata, I
yeah.
think.
Razer Falcata. That's what I'm sorry, not Razer.
Hold
Asus
on. It's
Falcata.
Asus ROG Falcata, I think. One second.
Anyway, a lot of these gaming ergonomic ones are usually linear switches. I really like that these are tactile. Are these like box whites?
Kale's box whites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. See, look at this. I'm starting.
You're starting to get there.
But this is because
I
it's
like
super
Kale,
customizable. These are super
Yeah,
customizable.
you can get it as a linear. I think they had 8 different switches that you could choose from, and then they're actually hot swappable switches as well. So it's very easy to yank them.
The Falcata is different because it's magnetic switches. It is
and you don't have any
stupid sensitive if you want it to be, which is kind of nice. They feel amazing. It's like so light and airy. I had to get used to it coming from my turn for show and tell. This guy, for the video watchers, this is a Gold Touch keyboard. This is a split keyboard. These have one problem though. A lot of times their handle will break. And so what this part is supposed to do is that you open it up, you set it to the like level of tenting that you want, and you flip the handle down so it holds.
to like lock it kind of thing.
But the handle is notorious for breaking. I've had multiple break on me, and I am very gentle with my stuff. All of the people here who've worked with me a long time know I'm very gentle with my stuff. So the upside to this is that you can often find these really cheap on eBay with a broken handle. And so when you're looking to try ergonomic gear like a tented keyboard for the first time cheaply, my recommendation is you buy a Gold Touch keyboard like this that has a broken handle but is operational. You get a roll of tape. I'm not even joking here. This is just a roll of like packing tape, scotch, 3M scotch packing tape, and you stick it right under like this, and there you go. You got your tenting. It's not as good as your cardboard mouse.
That's a Gordon solution for sure.
You know what? We come from similar backgrounds.
It's adjustable too. Different sizes of tape.
I'm serious. Like you can actually use different levels of heights here. Like I had like a little box from like an Anchor power like charger thing, like that was smaller and lower, so you can get a lower height for the tenting if you want. But look, it's like pretty decently sturdy if you get in the right spot.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself says, Tim Lau says you could 3D print a stand.
You could do that too. I don't have access to a 3D printer. This I have.
You should check your library because a lot of libraries have 3D printers nowadays. So
this is true, but that would take me probably several hours. This took me literally
Fair.
2 minutes to find this thing and just shove it under the keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is such a Gordon solution. Gordon would have
Look,
been
I
like,
could pick
yeah,
it.
man,
I could make it
whatever.
prettier if I wanted. I just didn't choose to. Then I get like one that's like gigantic washi tape or something, so just a little bit prettier. I don't know. I'm just saying, you can usually get a Gold Touch keyboard like this pretty inexpensively, maybe anywhere from $30 to $50 off of eBay. They normally go for I think $100+. So it can be your first entry into it. These are rubber dome switches though, so eventually if you want to work your way up, there is a Keychron keyboard that doesn't have tenting but is split like this, and then again you just find some kind of makeshift DIY tenting kit for it. I think that one's somewhere like in the low 100s, so it's pretty affordable. It has mechanical switches, and then the next step up I would say for pre-built is that ROG Falcata, which is somewhere around like street price of $280, $300, so it's getting pricier.
Getting into Moonlander territory, I think.
But it does have magnetic switches, and they feel divine. They really are so nice. If that's your thing.
Hey, if you're out there and you feel fine and your hands are great and your wrists are as supple as a newborn babe, that's great. Please do some stretches. Please take a step back.
Honestly, getting into this stuff early is even better than
Preventative.
waiting.
Well, that's what I want to say is get them now before it hurts, because that will prevent the pain later.
Yeah.
And I wish I had done that. I was fine till my mid-30s. I didn't break anything. I went too hard. I love PCs too much. And if that sounds like you,
What
I
a way
love
to describe
PCs
it.
too much.
it's going to happen to you. Maybe not to your 40s, maybe not to your 50s. But if you get into this gear now, it might never happen to you. And that would be amazing.
I mean, once again, I do got to say the amount of companies in the last couple of years that have introduced stuff like this. I remember when Asus had the Falcata at Computex last year, I think it was. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, we got this new thing. And I was like, whoa. And then I was pressing the engineers. I was like, vertical mouse? Come on. And they were like, oh, yeah, we just started with this. We'll get there maybe one day. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And I think people just don't necessarily realize how much it's going to be a problem, because when you are in your 20s, you're like, whatever, man. I think the average person's response is, yeah, cool. I'll just keep typing on my laptop, on my desktop, and sit in a chair that's terrible for me, and like, who cares? It'll never happen to me. And I say that because that was my feeling for years.
Never happened to me.
I remember hearing people talk about carpal tunnel and being like, whatever, man, I've never had problems. And then I started having problems. So
I mean, it's kind of like GT Beakerman. It's worth a few $100 for an ergo keyboard. Don't cheap out. There's certain things you just don't want to cheap out, and especially your physical health.
Yeah. Do you like the Moonlander? Is it
I do. I also have a Keyboardio and like 2 or 3 others. My big hang up is that, and don't be like me, I don't commit. So I will get on a split, and most of them these days, a couple $100, you're going to need to map them because they're going to have unique keys. They might have less keys or keys in different spots than you're used to. And I just don't commit. I don't do that last 20%, which is learn the map and then sit down and practice till it's as normal as a QWERTY keyboard. So I just, whenever I'm in a rush and I got to write something, I just grab that rectangular slab and destroy myself.
Really?
Again. I do, yeah. We have them here at the office, and I just bam, bam, bam.
That's
I'm a fool.
wild.
Don't be me.
Don't
look
be me.
like this.
What's keeping you from that last 20%?
Pure laziness, but
No, but no, seriously.
I'm gonna
not
bring a
just,
keyboard
Not
in.
just
I'm
the
gonna-
laziness though, but what makes it not feel the same?
for me, it's writing. So my job has been at a keyboard for the last 15 or 16 years. And so, especially the last gig, maybe not here so much, there was a real focus on turning around work quickly. I had to write quickly and on deadline. And so I never got fast enough on a split or any kind of, I was trying Dvorak for a while as well. And I never
Dvorak,
took the time to get quick enough. So when I needed to get something done, I had to go back to destroying myself.
That is the other thing too.
what
Learning
price?
a different layout than QWERTY can also be a huge improvement for your
I hear
comfort.
good things. Colmac and Dvorak are
Yeah,
where it's at.
I can't do it. I will say for me, I have explicit examples on here of when I moved to a split keyboard, the things that screwed me up were the B key and the 7 key. Because it turns out that I typed 7s with my left hand and I typed the B
You
with
type
my
7 with your. How do you do that?
just reach
That
up.
is
I
a
got
huge.
long fingers. I don't know. Yeah, I typed 7 with my left hand and I typed B with my right hand.
No body shaming on this show.
And so
I'm shaming here.
when I split the keyboard, I would reach for like a phantom B key that wasn't there because I would be reaching for it next to the N here, and it would just like go
whoa.
right through.
You're
And
like,
same with
whoa.
the 7, I would like reach up from the T to hit that 7 and just be like, "There's nothing there. It's just air." And it took me probably 6 months to rewire my brain to type "quote unquote" correctly the way that the keyboard manufacturers would prefer that I
That's
typed.
Right.
funny.
And so yeah, it was like very strange for a little bit, and I don't know why I picked that up because everything else, all the keys in the first 2 rows, the main 2 rows, totally fine. My Y's and H's and my T's and G's, I guess I learned the correct way from the home row, but yeah,
funny.
7 and B were the 2 that really screwed me up for a while.
That's funny.
For me, it's been as I've experimented with different ergo like layouts and sizes, how I hit the space bar.
Really?
So sometimes the spacing on them doesn't match, I guess, maybe the size of my hands and just my style of how I hit the space bar. And it has definitely created some moments where I go, wait a second, what's happening here? I was trying was it you who recommended the Limo key? Oh, no, it's Kreider. There's a little gamepad, which is another option you can do where you get the keypad and then you build like a 3D printed little tent for it. So that's another way to do it if you don't need like the home row or the like function keys. But the space bar on that was so weird. I kept hitting the wrong button the whole time. And I was just like, what's wrong with this? What's happening? I ended up looking into like weird keycaps that would like span to like keys. And I was trying all these things. It didn't work. So I'm just going to have to basically relearn that. But
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, and this one obviously has 4 space bars, and I've learned that I pretty much only, because it has 4 different space bar buttons, and you can remap all of those. So I've basically learned that I only hit one of those, and all the rest of them can be like new layer keys, basically.
So for me, what was happening is that I would end up in that space between them, the gap, and it drives me, like that tactile sensation of that drives me a little crazy.
Yep.
Interesting.
Should we talk Steam controller? Should I evangelize
Sure.
trackpads for a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh, there's more show and tell?
Yeah, one more thing.
Well, because
One more thing.
I usually game on a controller anyway, so I feel like that.
Yeah, Adam
That
was
helps.
like, we've talked about the Steam controller to death. And
Yeah,
I was like,
I
yeah,
don't
but have you
think
talked
people are
about the
excited.
trackpads and how much I love the trackpads?
I think
Okay,
they're a waste of
what is-
space.
What is
I'm so
the
jealous of
learning?
these.
What is the learning curve on that? Because as someone who's come from just more traditional controllers, every time I look at that, I think,
On like the whole controller in general or just the trackpad?
But you're actually playing games with the trackpad?
Yes. So not the games that I would play with a normal controller. I'll say that.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about the trackpads from an ergo standpoint, and this started for me actually on the Steam Deck when I was having wrist pain. I was playing a lot of games on the Steam Deck that would typically be a mouse and keyboard game. And the reason I could do that was because the trackpads are so flexible. So the example that I love to give is I played Secret of Monkey Island on Steam Deck a few years ago. Because I don't know how much you all have like dug into the community layouts on Steam, but it's like a really rich repository sometimes of weird things that take advantage of the Steam Deck hardware that I would never think to do personally.
nice.
Somebody had built a community layout for Secret of Monkey Island that used the left trackpad as a telephone layout that matches the 9 verbs in a Scum game.
Cool.
So you could like look at the screen and be like, oh, the top left is like speak or whatever. I can't remember what the actual Scum layout is, but it was like the top left of this trackpad is speak. And so you would just like tap that section.
That's interesting.
And it would automatically select that verb, and then you could use that verb wherever you needed in the scene. So you didn't have to. The alternative, if you're playing Secret of Monkey Island on a trackpad, is you have to trackpad down to the bottom left, hit one of
Select.
those verbs, and then trackpad back up because you don't have a keyboard attached to the Steam Deck. So if you were playing it on PC, you would use, I think like all of the different verbs are mapped to like WER, SDF, ZXC or whatever. But if you don't have a keyboard attached to the Steam Deck, the only alternative was like going down to that section, hitting one of those verbs, then using it on the actual thing that you want to use it on, which when you have to, use 5 different verbs on every single object in that game, gets extremely tedious very fast.
Right.
So this is a way for you to play that game on a Steam Deck. That kind of opened me up to this idea of like using those trackpads in interesting ways. So earlier this year, I played Perfect Tides Station to Station, which is another point and click adventure, but from this year. That game also has the same sort of verb system as a Scum game, and but it doesn't have 9 verbs. I think it has 5. So the trackpads actually allow you to build like a circular button selection thing as well. So not just like a 9 button, but like a kind of like that other Razer mouse. Is it the Naga that has like a 5 button thing?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
So
For MMOs.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do that and map like 5 keys. When you build out those control schemes on your own, you're actually allowed to build them out in a way that you can tie like specific verbs or specific icons to each one and label them so that when it pops up on screen, you can see what each of those sections does. And so I have found the reason that I'm so excited about the Steam controller has nothing to do with the fact that it's a controller, because I already had a Elite 2 hooked up to my PC and it worked fine. The reason that I love the Steam controller is because it allows me to play a bunch of games on controller on my PC that I would otherwise never think about playing on a controller. Like I would not choose usually to play a Scum game on a Elite controller or whatever. It's just not going to happen. An Xbox controller is not made for that. But the trackpads really let you do some stuff that is outside the box. And it's like a little bit of effort up front to then be able to play a bunch of games that you're like, oh, this is amazing. This actually works really well. And because they've built out that community layout section, usually I don't even have to do the work anymore. Like somebody has made some weird control configuration for the Steam controller that I'm like happy to take advantage of.
Or any other controllers. Yeah.
Totally.
Especially with the ones with like back buttons.
Because I think like the Steam controller has all sorts of other stuff. Like there's like a grip. Like
sensor,
when you actually like touch the thing, the same as the index controllers, like there's so much hardware built into this that I think most people don't take advantage of. Like how many people are actually using the gyro in the Steam Deck and Steam controller? Like probably very few if I had to guess, but like it's there. And if you dig into it, it can really change how you use PC games or how you play PC games and break you out of some of that mouse and keyboard stuff, which for me, now that I use a mouse and keyboard all day for other reasons, it can be very helpful to be like, oh, I'm going to give my forearm a break and sit with my arms in a different configuration. Like you said, it's like a variation, a different way to play games every day.
Totally. I'm jealous.
Good point. Yeah. So yeah, if you're fully entrenched in mouse and keyboard, this might be a way to.
Yeah, I think
help
it's
you
like
get
something
away.
that, because I know a lot of people that kind of are down on the trackpad.
Some people.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna point fingers at you, but
I'll point both fingers at me.
but
yeah.
I think it is actually like once you get into it and try and like play at least 1 or 2 games with it, you're like, wow, there's actually a lot of stuff that you can do on this. Because and this is what I think is so amazing about the Steam ecosystem and the Steam controller and all that at this point is when you have like the Xbox Elite controller and they give you back buttons, all you can really do on an Xbox is like map the face buttons to the back buttons or like map the R3, L3 to the back buttons, because it only lets you remap existing buttons to the back buttons because they can't count on them being there for everybody.
When you're on an Xbox.
Yes, on an Xbox. But like when you are on a PC, you're allowed to do so much with the controller layouts that like I regularly on Steam Deck will run controller layouts that are full controller, but then like keyboard buttons on the trackpads that I can just like hit at random to do hotkeys that aren't there on a controller. So like a lot of games will have like a quick save thing. If you're playing the PC version, there's obviously no quick save button on a controller or on a Steam Deck. And so mapping that to one of the trackpads. So every time I hit the trackpad, it just automatically quick saves. Like that sort of stuff really opens up your possibilities for a controller in a way that I think has been hard to do traditionally. Like traditionally a controller has been like a limiting device instead of one that you're like, oh, this is actually like very competent and you can change it the same way you would a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Is that the latest Steam controller?
Yes, this is the currently back ordered to 2027
Steam Controller 2.
I heard that was hard to get. Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
It's extremely hard to get apparently.
And we still have a new in-box Steam Controller 1 if you want that.
Oh, we do? I mean, I always.
No, you
actually-
Did you buy it on the
It's micro USB.
the $2.50 blowout sale
we
or
all
whatever?
did.
Speaking of ancient Steam hardware, I just found a Steam Link when I was going through my stuff the other day.
Whoa.
I still have one of those kicking around as well.
We have that in
Gordon
the box
used
as well.
to stock up on those.
Yeah.
I regret not stocking. I never bought it. I was like, oh, I'll get them some other time, and then suddenly they were gone.
You can
now it's
do all
built
that
into
now
the
with
hardware,
yeah. I was
yeah.
gonna say you can do that with like
Or the
Moonlight
software, I
and
mean.
stuff at this point.
Well, but even Steam Link is built into the Steam app. So.
yeah, but if you wanted like PC games on your TV,
Yeah.
like you can throw Moonlight, I think, on an Apple TV and do it that way, or on NVIDIA Shield. Like there's a lot of ways to.
I just run a really long HDMI cable.
that's
Sometimes
one way to do it.
I'll
That's-
try that. Yeah.
The old ways are the best ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of old hardware, I guess I should have said this at the top. If you're in the Bay Area and you want to come hang out this Saturday, we're going down to the Bay Area Electronics Flea Market. We are selling selling hardware, extra hardware we have here. So we're selling money too. We're selling extra hardware we have around here for charity in Gordon's name. The charity has been picked. It is Tech Exchange. So it's a company here out of the Bay Area that provides low income families with like technology to be able to work and do their
And it's
daily
actually a
computing on.
nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
It's a registered nonprofit.
A really good charity, and like all the extra. I mean, we've got plenty of motherboards.
I was gonna say
and
how many of
hardware
those
and,
graphics cards?
we
are
will
going
have some
down?
Jeep. Gordon had two 3090s for testing, so so I'll probably end up selling those for pennies on a dollar. But it's for charity.
Yeah.
So in Gordon's name. So if you're in the Bay Area, come down.
Also, it's
hang
just
out
a
and
fun
join us.
time to go to that flea market.
It really is.
It's
It
a
totally
wild,
is.
weird time.
I'm gonna bring cash with me because I probably am going to go home with stuff I shouldn't.
Yeah. No.
Nice.
Yeah. Be wary. Yeah.
My problem is just that I'm not a morning person, and it starts at like 6 in the
Six.
morning.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
6 in the
terrible.
morning.
Yeah.
I've only been there
Goes
at
till
like
noon.
I think we
Yeah.
got down there at 6:30 one time, and it was definitely the time to be there because everything was still there. And by 10 o'clock, it was like ransacked, and we were like, "Oh, I guess we can just go now. There's nothing here anymore." So
Get there early. We've got a lot of hardware. We're finalizing
And,
the hardware today. hopefully.
Steve, who is part
Steve
of our
Lynn.
who's
Yep.
part of our group,
of the
actually
show.
put a teaser picture.
He posted that publicly.
Yeah,
nice.
on our
Cool.
Discord server. I think it's an old Commodore system.
yeah, it's a Commodore
looks-
PET, I think.
And it
Yeah,
looks like it's in mint condition.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is. Oof,
Yeah, he's got some fun stuff.
no,
So
I'm surprised he's
And then-
letting go of it.
he's got a lot of stuff.
I was gonna say, I think he has
He probably
gotten
has
too
another
much.
one.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah.
He's dug too deep in the electronics flea
He's
market.
got to clear out a storage unit.
GT
Wow.
Beakerman's asking what times we'll be there from 6 to noon. Unless we sell out everything, I guess. But we're
have-
going to have a lot of people.
We
contributing
probably will
hardware.
have some of the newest stuff there.
Some of the newest, some of the oldest too. I mean, yeah, like Steve Lynn will have a bunch of
Well,
old stuff.
Our stuff from this office.
Yeah. Glenn has been working to put together some stuff from the house that Gordon had sitting around. So
Yeah,
a lot,
we
lot
have-
of lot of fun stuff.
The stuff from the office, there's a lot of PC cases.
A lot of cases, a lot of motherboards. Those are the two main things. I'm probably just going to throw a
I
bunch
have
of
a
these
couple
old
old
power
monitors.
supplies.
I'll be bringing
in.
a couple old monitors and old TV.
Yeah, got to go through my.
You should sell that first gen Steam machine. Find out what it's worth.
No. I want to put Linux on that thing.
I think
I'm
I
sure
told
of it.
you when I was building my NAS, I found an original Linux distro for SteamOS
Oh, yeah,
from like
you did.
2014, and I was
Nice.
like, "Wow!"
Whoa.
I wonder how many people still have this.
That's pretty cool.
That was like
That's
a
pretty cool.
thing they sent out before those machines even launched. I think.
Nice. Real quick, we got a super chat from friend of the show, Skeet Sayer, gives $5 Canadian. Said, "There's no keyboard that compares to my Logitech G510 from how long ago?" I have no idea. How
If
long
your
ago.
wrists are still good, God bless and Godspeed.
yeah,
And your elbows.
Yeah.
there you
More
go.
power to you.
Anything else on the Ergo tip, or should we take a couple questions before we get out of here?
Let's take some
Stretch.
questions.
All right,
get
well-
some lunch.
First, we'll take a little break. And like we're back with questions. If you got a question, a burning question, especially for Hayden, since he's here for today, get
So
it
many
in the chat. If you're watching or listening to this later, that's okay. You can go to the link down in the description to our Discord. We have a channel over there called TFN-questions. you can get him in there. And if it's something for Hayden, I'll try to maybe ask him and come back.
When is Star Citizen
oh
coming
man,
out?
dang it! That was my first question coming in from Adam Patrick Murray. When is Star Citizen coming out, Hayden?
I
put
hear
that
it's close now.
You put that in. Was it 2016? Was it our very first predictions?
Yeah, it must
episode?
have been the first predictions episode.
You put in Star Citizen will not come out in 2017, and every year since then we just roll it over to the next
not
year.
only did I put that in, but I think the people watching the show at the time were mad. I think
I think the Star Citizen people are
like
always mad.
fervently believed Star Citizen was coming out that year, and I feel very vindicated on that front.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can play it right now. What are you talking about?
That's what I've heard. I think it's close. Knock on wood. I don't.
What would you consider 1.0? Because you can play right now, dude.
Yeah, like some
I play
sort
all
of,
the time.
because they're making a campaign, right? With Mark Hamill
I wanna see
and
Mark
like
Hamill.
like a bunch of other people. So like when that comes out, maybe I feel like it's been close, but also I feel like nobody talks about Star Citizen anymore.
I don't know. I know a lot of people who play a lot of Star Citizen.
Wow, that's
still.
wild.
Yeah. And they're eager to talk about. They're like Linux people. They're very excited to talk about that.
They're running Bazlight on their spaceship.
Oh boy.
They spent $10,000 on a
I'm one of
spaceship.
those Linux people now. So yeah. All right. I got another question coming in from one Lindsay Murray. My wife asked, I wonder if Hayden is exclusively a Blue Monster guy.
I am actually. Wow, that's we actually have a Blue Monster ornament for our Christmas tree. Yeah, it's terrible. It's a habit I've tried kicking many times. I've actually kicked caffeine fully like 4 different times over the years, and then I like fallen off the wagon. And I say that half jokingly, but also not jokingly at all.
That's hard.
The headaches are hard when you give it up. So
Yeah.
Can you taper off, or is it always just
no,
bad?
it's kind of just always bad, I think. I tried at one point caffeine pills. I got really into, I was like, oh, well, I'll just
Gordon
stop
did those
drinking
too.
Monster and do caffeine pills instead. And then that makes you like really feel like you're an addict, like popping caffeine pills in the morning. So that didn't last very long.
Probably
But yes,
for the best.
Blue Monster,
Okay.
pretty much it.
So Lindsay likes White Monster. So yeah. We have a question I should have asked earlier in the gaming section, but AI on the wall, sneaky, asked how much more does it really cost a game studio to print their games into a disc? Do we know the actual cost?
I think not much, but I think margins are so slim on games these days that it kind of doesn't matter, is my guess.
I really don't know what it costs to distribute, but any cost at this point, it's hard to know what the value is. Like, do you want to get your PC game in GameStop? I don't know why you would. So yeah, I don't know what the cost is. It could be marginal at that point. I'm still not sure why they would do it anymore.
Well, I also think the
guess-
other thing too, which they had announced, was that the manufacturer that was printing the discs are being repurposed to do something else. So maybe they're looking and they're like, well, we could make more money doing this over here, or we could continue to print discs.
I also think
Could be.
too, though, that the cost of it, relatively speaking, is probably not as cheap for them as it used to be, because before they had the whole like massive scale of economy going
Right.
for them, and over time digital sales have just really eaten into that. I do think for Sony to say that, though, just to put that out there, that is a huge cultural shift, because Japan loves physical media.
Yeah.
Loves.
Well, I think it'll stay there longer because not a big component, but a significant component of this is the cost of shipping that stuff to the U.S. or to Europe. And so, like, if you don't need to pay to put that on a boat, then it's maybe a little more feasible.
I don't think it's as cheap now, though, to be digital, though. I think before it was, but with all the data center costs rising,
yeah.
I'm guessing that that's not as cheap as it used to be either.
And storage costs. Like, there's a lot of factors that are moving right now, but I do think that, like, I remember 10 years ago, we were talking about, like, are games too cheap? And game prices have not really gone up since then. They're floating this $80 game thing with Grand Theft Auto and Mario Kart, but it seems like it's not taking off. Like, Microsoft tried to make $80 for Outer Wilds 2 happen and then had to walk that back. Because I think $80 for your average player, still a lot of money, even if you can tell them, like, hey, with inflation, like, $80 is $70 10 years ago, or $80 is actually a bargain compared to, like, you used to pay $80 for NES games and SNES games. And that is like, now we're still paying $80 for games all these years later. So that's where I think that, like, if you can save even $2 $5 on any game, you're going to take that money. Like that is, you know, why would you make your margins any smaller than you can at this point? It's so hard to make money in the games industry, even on successful games. You know, I remember a time not long ago when like a game selling 1 million copies was like a runaway success. And now games regularly sell 5 million copies and like don't break even. So, I think if you're like looking at it that way, and to Elena's point, like I think there's that opportunity cost of like, these factories could be doing something else. Like,
yeah, somebody in the chat said something about repurposing for retrofitted to micro lenses to go into data centers. I don't know if that's true or not. But
I will point out though that Salvador UJL in YouTube chat right now says that the problem is that back in the old days, the SNES days, the average console owner didn't buy more than 6 games. So I do understand why people are mad now, because the environment is just not the same. Paying $80 with inflation maybe would be what, I don't know, closer to 120, 150, I don't know what would it be at this point off the top of my head, for one game that you end up playing for like half a year is a different story than when they're releasing, 3 major games in October and they want you to buy all of them at full price.
Yeah, right. And that goes back to the discovery problem from earlier. Like what game are you going to take your winger on and be like, I'll play that one. But I do think like you could still be a person that only plays 6 games a year. Like nobody's forcing you to buy more games. And I think that is actually one of the other problems facing the industry is people playing like, I'm just going to play GTA 5 for the next 10 years of my life. Or I'm just going to play Warframe or...
Yeah, Fortnite and Roblox together have like eaten up a huge chunk of people to be buying games otherwise.
I play Overwatch and I don't buy anything, so they're not making any money off of me.
Yeah, and I think that's a different problem from like the margin problem, the like how much is this game actually making? Like it's a very, like we said earlier, it's like a very weird time for the industry, and I think my only hope is that we all make it through and everybody gets jobs again in the games industry. I don't think the games industry is going away. But I do think in 5 years it'll look very different from even now, let alone 5 years ago.
True. A couple more and we'll get out of here. Friend of the show, Datus, which is the CEO of Deezer. Congratulations. Was the demise of the companion cube a good example that Valve isn't anyone's friend, but in fact a company? Wasn't there a better resolution, profits to cancer charity, etc., compared to the massive amounts of waste created? Did you follow that story?
I saw it. I don't know.
Well, actually, Will and Norm on the Tech Pod this week talked about their experiences with the Steam machine. Go listen to it. It was actually a really good episode. Always good to hear those guys get back together and chat. But they gave even more info about what it cost D-Brand to actually tool that up, because those were mold injections. And they're talking like 6 figures just to get this going. So it probably wasn't a publicity stunt. They probably were like trying to sell those.
Yeah, why would you do that before getting permission? Like that's where the whole story breaks for me. Is like, did they just think Valve would be like, all right, cool, man? Like Valve might want to sell that thing for themselves. Like they made the faceplate swappable. I doubt Valve was like, we might be able to make a companion cube for this thing.
Yeah. I mean, but do you fault Valve for stomping it out and saying, hey, that's our property and you didn't ask us?
I find it, I mean, it's like I'm torn. On the one hand, I'm a guy who loves like open source and whatever. But on the other hand, I'm like, I mean, it is Valve's property. Like if they didn't ask Valve, can we do this? I can't fault Valve for being like, hey, this is ours actually. You can't do this thing. So
I'm also guessing though that it has less to do with a how do I put this? A relational thing, and it has to do more with a legal thing. You have to defend what you own, otherwise you don't get to own it after a certain point. So my guess is the lawyers, my guess is the company lawyers were like, you actually probably cannot let this slide.
Yeah, no, to the question asker's point, like that's exactly right. I think they are at heart a company, and even though they have this reputation that I think has done a lot of damage about good guy Valve being so great, like they do have a legal team. They will take action and they will defend their property. And, Nintendo does the exact same thing.
Well, Nintendo's aggressive.
I'd say even worse.
Nintendo is feral, relatively speaking.
And I think a lot of people don't like to look at those two companies in that same light, but they absolutely are. They're doing the exact same thing. And it's just protecting their property.
and in fairness, I'm not a lover of companies. I'm not going to defend a company with my dying breath, but I will say you can be a good person, and if your neighbor starts digging up your lawn, I mean, you can still take a stance while being a decent person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What a weird story. Last question here, also from Deatus, friend of the show, asked, didn't NVIDIA re-release the 3060 at $330 to clear out all the other unsold 5060 8 gig versions? I don't think they did that just to do that. I mean, NVIDIA's official stance is that, the 3060 has always been in production, but you just haven't had it on store shelves. Now they're actually appearing on store shelves again. I don't think they would go to that length to produce new 3060s just to get people to be like,
juice
actually, you
sales?
know what,
Yeah.
a 5060 is a better deal. I'm going to go for that. But what do you think, Hayden?
I have no idea. I am glad I got my 5080 when I did. It's been a rough. I was gonna say a year, but it's been like a rough 5 years for graphics cards, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm just happy to have hardware that works, and knock on wood, it keeps working. I feel the same about RAM right now. Every time I think about upgrading, I'm like, well, this
like, I'm
RAM
good.
works. So yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah. Do you think anyone's going to buy those 30 series cards now that they're back?
Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, there's always somebody who's going to buy something, whether they have a lack of understanding or education.
Or lack of a better option.
Yeah,
or
lack of a better option.
or it's in a pre-built system. Like, that's
can see that,
another
yeah.
place too that people are like, oh well, it's $1,000, it's got to be good, right?
Sure.
So like, yes, those things will sell, but no, I don't think this was like a grand scheme to sell more 5060s. Personally,
Yeah, because I was surprised when we were doing our build guides for 1050, we were putting 5060s and 5050s in there. So the idea that you would shoot, well, I think you're right. We'll see how it goes.
Well,
I'm sure.
I think it's the pricing though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were like, okay, sure, whatever. They're bringing the 3060 back, but if it came out at $200, that's different than 330.
Right,
or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah,
they're
that's a
hitting.
bit steep.
But
All I can say is I have a 3080 sitting at home that I think is now worth about as much as it was when I bought it, because it's so hard to get
Probably.
graphics cards again. Like,
was it 10 gig or 12 gig?
it's a 10 gig. And I had the same thing when I bought that 3080. It was in the deep crypto GPU scarcity, like the last time that this was a problem. I sold my 2080 Ti for the same amount that it was originally purchased for, with like 3 years of use on it. Like,
Pandemic was wild times, man.
yeah, it just is like, I think a similar level right now of it's hard to find anything. Yeah, things are weird.
I didn't look deeply into that news. Was that specifically going to be targeting US market or global?
I mean, I heard a report that they're showing up on European store shelves as standalone, but also showing up in pre-built systems as well. So, yeah,
Wow.
I don't know specifics. I haven't seen any.
Somebody found a
Perfectly
warehouse. They were like, oh, we have this.
Yeah, wait, what's this back here? Oh, no one for mining. So, it's just
Oh.
back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
We have a couple super chats before we head out, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We do. Well, let me find them. Okay. Skeet Sayer, $2. Thank you so much. Oh, Canadian dollars. Biggest threat to PC gaming is NVIDIA. Agree, disagree.
Shoot.
Sure, no.
I don't know.
I can see some of the argument for it, because I mean the data center build out is in part due to what they're doing on the enterprise side.
And they control a lot of the GPU market, most of the GPU market.
But I don't know if threat is the word I would use for it.
I think there's plenty of things threatening
They definitely have too much
the
power.
PC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also gives a $5 Canadian super chat, said, what are we even talking about? RAM prices are so high, Valve could only put one stick in the Steam machine. It's true. Yeah. That's all you need. You only need one stick, right?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask for
You
more.
fit it
You're
all in
greedy.
one stick, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you get an option to upgrade later.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they did it. Great.
Save
Good for
space.
them. Good for them. Anyway, we should wrap it up here on the Full Nerd, because we're hungry. We got to get
We
out
are
of here.
very hungry, so
actually
much to
very
the
hungry.
point where I was mixing up inflation adjusted prices with non-adjusted inflation prices earlier.
It's fine. It happens to everybody. Hayden, it's been great to
Thanks,
have you
man.
on, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good to
Yeah,
see
it's like
you.
the good old days.
You forget how exhausting it is to talk for 2 hours into a microphone until you haven't done it in a while.
And we
then
all
you're
just
like,
stare at you while you're just doing that.
It's tough.
Not helping you out.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, I guess is what I would say. Yeah, I have not done this in a while, but it was very fun. It's good to see all of you.
Yeah. Oh, actually, last question. Have you dabbled into Linux at all?
I, through the Steam Deck, sort of have, but
Okay.
I've thought about building a machine, but then stuff that is only on PC has kind of kept me from doing it.
Yeah.
The marathons, the battlefields of the world, like I have thought about it, but then I don't really want to be a dual boot person because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
All right.
When they've got you locked in.
They keep telling me 2026, the year of Linux. So
No, it was last
maybe.
year.
We already passed it.
Also, yeah, if you want to join Will and I on a journey to learn Linux, we are wrapping up Dual Boot Diaries podcast.
Is next
so.
week the last week?
This week is the last week.
Oh my!
Oh.
Yeah. This week is the very last
Is
week.
it
so
the
tune
big
into that.
reveal happening?
Yeah, we're gonna delete some partitions. Yeah, we are. Gonna make the choice.
Stressful, man.
Yeah, it's going to be very stressful. Actually, I need to talk to Will and figure out the details. It's so stressful.
Make arrangements.
Yeah, but it's okay. Will's got a new thing going on at takecontrol.content.town. I'm excited to check that out. I submitted the first question to that podcast, so but that's because I had early access.
It's
to
a
the
great
system, so-
URL name too. I think we should all.
takecontrol.content.town.
It's beautiful.
Also, my co-host on Expedition Handheld, Russ from Retro Game Core, is off. He's in Australia with his family
Nice.
vacationing. I don't know. Vacation? Who does that?
What's that
I don't
like?
know.
In the U.S., never.
Yeah. And I have a fill-in co-host, one tech dweeb from YouTube fame. So that should be fun. I'm excited about that. So if you want to hear more about handheld talk, go subscribe over there. Anyway, where can people follow you, Hayden?
Nowhere. That's the nice thing about not being a reporter anymore is you just don't have
You
to
don't
be
gotta
a
worry
public
about it.
figure. Yeah,
That's great.
It's fine.
Okay, sweet. Then send us a physical mail here to PC World offices.
That's right.
Yeah, you know how to get a hold of me. The people that matter know how to get a hold of
There
me.
you go. Boom. Yeah. So check back next week for your fix of PC Talk here on The Full Nerd. Subscribe to us on the go. Tune in live every Tuesday on YouTube at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Check out the Full Nerd newsletter written by one Alex War over
Right,
here.
so,
How's it going
yeah.
so far? What are you a month
I'm
in
writing
now?
it right now. Yeah.
You're writing it right
That's
now.
right. No, in my
You're
head.
not even.
Right
Oh,
now.
okay.
He's gonna grab that crappy square keyboard
Yep,
after
yep,
this.
and
He's
just
gonna
pound it
type
out.
it up.
Slab.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna destroy myself for you.
Yeah,
So you
there
better
go.
read it.
Yeah, and you can somebody had mentioned that if you just go to pcworld.com/newsletters, that'll take you to the sign up page.
Yeah, you don't have to type in the extra stuff.
Yeah, so look at that. It's so
Look
much
at this.
easier to say
For a year.
pcworld.com/newsletters. And not only can
Goodness.
you get the Full Nerd newsletter, you can also get Safe Mode,
Yep.
which is your security focused newsletter.
Yep.
And I enjoy it. I
I
subscribe to
would
both.
say I always preface this, and I probably will in perpetuity, but it is not necessarily designed for IT professionals. A lot of enthusiasts here don't really know a lot of the stuff, but it's meant to kind of help you when you're doing informal tech support for people. You can kind of forward it to them, kind of also keep you up to date on some of the bigger news, like headlines for cybersecurity if you are not necessarily in cybersecurity. But yeah, subscribe. Make me look good for my bosses.
Nice. Sweet. Cool. Then, and intern Glenn, thanks for watching
Hanging
the
out,
stuff over there.
making
I
sure nothing
appreciate it.
breaks.
But anyway, thanks everybody. We will catch you in the next episode. And until then, hang out and we'll see you later. Bye.